Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Before I do anything else, let me get these headphones on. Good to go. Let's bring the next scene in. Everybody, how we doing tonight?
Good.
Hey,
For having us back.
hey, you got the mic right there? You got the mic on you? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Absolutely.
Thanks for having us back. It's been about 15 months, and so we would like to give you an update and give our members an update on what we've been doing here in the county to bring organized labor and get these members up to par so far as wages, retirement, etc.
Okay. Before we get first and foremost, Charles County, we got Charles County bus drivers and attendants. Round of applause for you all, you three right here. That's a face of the movement as far as everything you're trying to do. Just trying to get your people the proper benefits that they need to make sure they have a good living conditions. First and foremost, Rick, set man, host, BNY, what's good, DMV. Carlos, how you doing, co-host?
What's up? Always glad to be here. Yes. So glad to be back with bus drivers.
All right.
I love this.
We're glad to have you back.
Yes.
Because you helped us when we needed an inside voice. You made connections for us with the politicians. You set up meetings. You were instrumental. And that's why the union, we endorsed you, and we will continue to endorse you because we know that you're a fighter and you're about your business and helping people. You came up to us, we didn't even know you, and you told us what you could do for us, and you did. You did.
Look, y'all.
Yeah.
I was following you all's lead because you all started it. You all have done this multiple times, and I say this is the first time I've ever seen a union effort in Charles County go as hard as you all have gone, as long as you all have gone, is amazing. So thank you from this side, but all the thanks, all the applause, all the everything goes to you all. Rick, you hit that applause button one
Hey, you
one
want me to
time
hit it
for that.
again? I hit it many times to meet you tonight. So before we get started, this is what I want to do. I want to go around the room. I want you each to introduce yourself for podcast purposes, and then we'll go ahead and get started from there.
Well, good evening. This is Jerome Ned.
Just a little bit closer to the mic, a little bit closer.
I'm a bus driver here in Charles County, and I've been with the core group of members who have started this back in 2021 to try to change the compensation, just the overall attitude that the county or the Board of Education has towards the bus drivers, allowing basic contractors to underpay bus drivers so that Charles County actually has some of the lowest paid CDL drivers in the DMV. And we started, as I said, in 21 trying to change, and we've moved forward, but there's still a battle that we're in.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Marvin Weathersby. I'm a bus driver also, and I've been doing it, I guess, for the last 19 years. I started this job thinking it was just going to be a part-time job, and it wound up being my retirement job. And but I've enjoyed working with the kids, and I've enjoyed working with working in the system. Early on, I saw that a number of the drivers and attendants did not or were not receiving adequate benefits for retirement and for salary. They were collecting food stamps. They were going on unemployment. They were working 2 jobs, and they were struggling. Mm-hmm. And I saw that a lot of them were, and I felt the need. I said, look, we can't continue to have a system that works that way. And they had a system that was set up that was designed that it will keep these folks in poverty. So we have to get them out of poverty. We have to, how is it that we have drivers picking up kids that live in $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 houses, and they can't even afford to buy $100,000 house? are living in an apartment and have to pay high rent. Rent's down here, $2,500 a month. They're when they get insurance, only they're the only ones that can be insured. They can't even get insurance for any of their other family members. It's cost prohibitive. They can't afford it. So those various things and things like that are going on, that's what led me to it, okay? And so we've been pushing and we've been working, and we're going to continue to push and work to get what it is that they deserve. Okay, I've talked too much.
We got one more.
No,
Just
you
one more
did
to
great.
I just
introduce.
wanna make a quick
Oh yeah, go ahead,
statement.
please.
What I really found was that this system was designed to give generational wealth to the contractors. The
That's right.
contractors have basically been supported by taxpayers here in Charles County to develop wealth that they've shared and passed through their generations.
Who's the name of the
A
contractors?
number of the contractors: Compton, Coke, Hedges, which
Okay.
is H&H, Dinks, D&J. In other words, there are a number of contractors who are making millions of dollars a year or taking millions of dollars a year from taxpayers who have basically enriched their families for generations, while at the same time underpaying the people who support and work for those organizations. And that was the thing that, to me, caused the most difficulty in understanding why they couldn't pay their employees fairly when they're being overcompensated by taxpayers here in Charles County.
So when they say to you, we're not making any money. Well, if you weren't making any money, how would you pass something on to someone else that's not making any money? That doesn't make sense. You evidently are making money. And because you're doing it year after, I'm just telling you, 19 years. They've been in business for over 50 years. They've been doing what they're doing. So they are, yes, they are, but they will tell their drivers and tell other people, we're not making any money. But as I said, it doesn't make sense. You go, Mr. B. Oh, you got one. Okay.
Thanks, guys. I'm Earl Beatty. How
you doing?
Okay, thanks. For the ones that don't know, I was assigned to this project by ATU International. The international vice president called me and asked me would I get involved. And of course, I told him no, because I had spent 30 years with the Washington Metropolitan Transit Authority, and 15 of those years was with the union as a system business agent. So the process that we needed here was a process that I was familiar with, how to organize, how to file the reports with the National Labor Relation Board, and how to set up an election, because that was part of my job. But I really didn't want to get involved until these guys came along with Miss Washington and Crystal, and they pulled me in. And so I've been in ever since. And we could have never did this without the work of the core group. Could have never gone forward. And so we have been able to make some changes. We have not gotten what we want, and that's why we're still here. These gentlemen mentioned the retirement. A contractor making $1.5 million a year has to pay $8 per month for 10 months towards the employee's pension. Now, the employees has to match it, and the county puts in $1,000. Now, just think about over the last 6 months what the stock market has done. So if you've been there 10 or 12 years and you've invested in the stock market or the system that they have, which is inadequate, you don't have anything. You don't have a retirement. So the retirement is one of the largest thing. And the other thing is the health insurance. Yes, we got the guaranteed 8. We're one of the few counties in Maryland who has the guaranteed 8.
Can you explain real quick what the guaranteed 8
Well,
is?
guaranteed 8 is you're guaranteed 8 hours. If you run your route pays 6 hours, you're guaranteed 8. If it pays 5, you're guaranteed 8. That's what a guaranteed 8 is.
Ties up your whole day.
It ties up your.
Hold on.
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah,
microphone.
right. Okay.
Yeah, you good, good.
So it's like a split shift, and so yes, we've got the guaranteed 8, but also the health insurance. You've got contractors that some of the employees have to pay as much as $8,000 out of pocket. Can't afford to get sick. So those are some of the things that we face: short-term disability, long-term disability. You have a dual system. The ones that work for the county, they have paid holidays, retirement, long-term disability. They have those things. Contractors, the ones who work for the contractors, as Mr. Ned mentioned, it's been a generation wealth thing that's been passed down, and so they've spent last year over $100,000 fighting the union to keep the union out. They went out and hired J.S. Proctor.
That's their lobbyist,
Right.
who's also donated to multiple candidates in Charles County.
Exactly.
Who also is hired by the county to do their lobbying during the legislative
Right.
session, the General Assembly.
Exactly. So
GS
that-
Proctor episode coming soon.
yeah, that's what we've been facing, and we were fortunate enough because we made so much noise to we put a bill forward. The contractors killed it, and it basically tied in what is considered the joint employer. So the county has been able to escape out the back door when they're the ones, they're the puppy masters. They're the one pulling all the strings. So far as the funding and the hiring, the firing, etc.
You said the county's a puppet master.
Yeah.
Who in the county?
The transportation, the board,
Board of Commissioners.
not commissioners. Commissioners are separate.
School board. I just want to be clear. Yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
right.
All right.
Yeah, right.
So Navarro and her people.
Right.
It's
her people.
it's the board. It's the board.
It's
Yeah,
the
so
board.
It's the
It's the
board,
board of
okay.
education.
The
the
same
board.
board that was with you in 2022 at the cookout when they needed your support. It's the same board that's now MIA.
They turn against us. We actually campaigned for 7 members. We actually put
Wow.
about 7
Which members?
members on the board, and
Which members?
that county board members.
He wants to name.
Oh, you want
Hey, of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's
Trying to recall everybody.
I'm trying
I
to
know, right?
Butler, Washington,
Daughtry.
Kramer,
Nicole.
right, and out of that we had 3 that actually.
Oh,
Now.
y'all nailed more Lee.
Lee,
yeah.
You
and the
officially
ones
did.
that really helped us over there is Warren and Butler, Washington, and I think there was one other. And so,
And unfortunately, Linda Warren just is either she already resigned or is like in the process of resigning.
She's already
She's
yeah,
gone already?
yeah.
she was.
One thing I do want to do is kind of take almost a step back a little bit and also like just know, or I guess can you all let us know too how long you all have been bus drivers for too. Like I think that's incredibly important too for people to know how long you've been doing this.
Let me answer that. Let me give you a little background. So initially, all the bus drivers in Charles County were contracted bus drivers. The county actually found that it was a lot cheaper not to have to pay the benefits, the health care costs, the paid holidays that they give to other county employees if they in fact use contractors, and the contractors didn't have to do any of those things. And that's basically where the vast majority of bus drivers work for contractors. They didn't actually start rehiring bus drivers through the county transportation department until we started our campaign to show just how unfairly bus drivers were treated here in Charles County. Basically, it's a situation where 80 to 90% of all the drivers are still working for contractors. The county only has less than, I believe at this time, 60 active bus drivers, whereas there's almost 400 bus drivers here in Charles County transporting children to and from school. So it really is a system where the county has found a way to avoid paying the costs that they would normally have to pay for other county employees. And we have, as I think indicated earlier, we have bus drivers who have driven for over 50 years who initially started out working for the county, but were told to go to a contractor. Again, the county trying to avoid paying what's only fair.
Who did that? Who told him?
The
School board.
What year?
Oh, this is going back into the
73.
going back into the 70s.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
1970s.
Good
It's
history
going back
lesson.
Still
into the
driving.
70s. And again, this was the method that they used up until we started this campaign to show just how unfairly bus drivers are treated here in Charles County.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Jerome, can you say how long you've been driving?
Oh, I've been
Yourself.
well. I've actually had the ability a CDL for over a dozen years, but I've only been driving here in Charles County since
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
That's a long time for a lot of people, because I know a lot of people who go job to job to job to job. So that's a long time, but you don't even find that now.
And,
really.
and he's being modest. This gentleman has ran corporations. He has retired from Oakland Fire Department, where he was involved in organized labor. He is the brainstorm. He and this gentleman behind our newsletter. At one time, I used to vet it. These guys are so good. I just say, it looks good printed.
There you go.
Yeah, you know, and so
Wow.
we're you know, and it's just been a pleasure
Awesome.
working with the two of these guys, along with Miss Washington and Crystal.
And I see Crystal in the chat too.
Hey.
Yeah. And you know, the thing about it is we're trying to recruit young members. We're all in our 70s. This guy here is the most active. I'm in bad health, and
Yeah, you still here? You here?
Still
yeah,
here.
right.
Come on now.
Yeah, well, true, but
I'd like to clear up another thing.
After that, I just want to direct it from there. But go ahead.
Sure.
Absolutely.
The reason that we're in this situation right now is because the county, as I was saying a moment ago, does not want to take the responsibility for the costs of drivers who have the most responsibility and liability of any person who works for the school system. I mean, we're driving buses that can carry up to 60-something children. Basically, it's our responsibility to get them to school so school can start, as well as to take them home. But we also have the most liability driving those children. We have to manage the children behind us as we drive. At the same time, we have to be responsible for traffic conditions, whether it's snowing, what have you. We still have that responsibility. So it's really unfair when you look at the pay throughout the DMV for people who have a CDL, which is required to transport these children. We are among the least paid in the DMV. There are people who drive buses, short buses, that do not require a CDL, who are actually paid more than CDL drivers here in Charles County. That's just how poor it is. And this is all happening because the county basically controls transportation, which controls all the drivers. So the reason that we initially got into this was to deal with the county, address our concerns with the county, who control who is hired, because they have to certify the drivers, who's fired, because if you lose your certification, you can't drive, so the contractor will basically let you go. The county determines that through transportation. What your salary is, the county determines what the minimum the contractors have to pay, which is, again, among the lowest in the DMV. The county controls the fact that we don't have background when it comes to discipline. The county can basically say whatever. We don't have, at this point, the union to stand behind us because they're fighting contracts. So basically, it's a situation where the county is really responsible for allowing the contractors or giving the contractors this kind of control.
Also, they're paying them too when it comes to campaign finance and stuff.
So that was the reason is we tried to initially show that it really is a joint employer relationship, because the county is really more responsible for what's happening to the drivers than the contractors.
Let's take it here for a second.
And to make our argument on that, you look at the Van Gogh situation, which is the transportation, it's the
Like public transit for the
right,
county.
right. Now, with that system, NV runs the whole system. They bring their management in. They set the wages. They negotiate the contract with the Teamsters because the Teamsters is in there. Okay, local 639. Okay, so but when it comes to school bus and the contractors, they have 17 contractors, and out of those 17 contractors, we were able to organize 10. We lost one, so we have 9, and I believe it's 7 that are non-union. So,
Tell them why we lost one.
after his members voted the union in, he said he would not deal with a union. He would go out of business first, and that's what he did. He sent the union a letter, and he sent the county a letter saying within a month or two that he was no longer in business. Now, the kicker to that was he was one of the earlier ones that started. Guess where he gets his pension from?
Talk about it.
The county. Up to 2000, maybe 2001, any of those contractors that retired, they retired on a county pension.
Say it again, Mr. Beatty.
Oh.
Say it again so they understand that point.
Right.
Yeah, please say it because I honestly have questions now because I'm thinking, wait, so because I've heard how other government contracts work. You put in a bid, they take
Right.
it, whatever.
Right.
So you're telling me a contractor can technically retire out if
Well-
they get a retirement?
They didn't change it until
What?
2001. So this gentleman, when he decided after 50 some years of being in business, he didn't want to deal with the union. He decided, hey, I'm going out of business, and he did. So
So those buses that Keller had, and
Okay.
the drivers and attendants that they had that were working for them. At that point, what happened? He gave them a letter and said, "I'm not opening back up." When at the end of the school, and he gave them the letter on the last day of school.
What?
Okay, so these drivers, they don't know what their future is. What are we going to do? So me and Mr. Ned, we had to go over and we had to tell transportation, look, you're losing your workers. You can pretend that you don't or that they're not with you, that you're not the joint employer. But if you don't have them, you won't have those workers in the fall because they're going to go look for another job and they're going to go work someplace else. Those are your workers. You can't afford to lose them. And we explained that to them because they didn't understand it. We had to break it down to them, okay? And so what happened was that's how we were able to get those workers that then the transportation said, okay, they're going to come work with us. And we said, okay, well, don't just tell me. See, another thing that happens down here is there's a lot of word of mouth. There's not stuff written down. And if it ain't written down, it doesn't exist. Okay? But they do a lot of work. So they would say to us, yes, we're going to bring them in. But we didn't know whether they were going to bring it. We need something in writing. We need you to contact these folks and let them know they will have. As a matter of fact, in order for them to draw unemployment and understand, the majority of these workers that work for these contractors during the summer, they don't work and they have to draw unemployment. So they have to go through that system. And that's a burdensome system to go through. A lot of people don't even get paid until well time after that.
yeah, we've had that.
Right, so there's a burden on the drivers just for that when the end of the school year comes. So anyway, these Keller workers, what happens is we got them to give them a letter in writing, and they came and they started working for transportation. So let me throw this one caveat out, back out there. And what this is, so if Keller was in business, and they were making $3 million a year, they were making $3 million a year. Say it again.
Yeah.
So if they were making that money, And what happens is, if you don't tell me what any of your expenses are, if I pay you $3 million, you getting paid $3 million.
Yeah.
That's how much you're getting, okay? So what happens is, that money that Keller used to earn, that contractor was earning, the school board was paying out to them. They're now not paying it to them anymore. That money is held inside. So when you look at the new buses that the county had, you look at the building that they built over there, and you wonder, where did they get the money from to do that? But what they could not do, they could not give the workers, the drivers and attendants who do the work every day, who get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go out in the cold, warming their car up and then getting to the cold bus in the morning and starting their buses up and getting their buses going. A lot of the buses down here did not have air conditioning. Okay, and do not. And so those another endurance that
You
a
said
worker
do not,
has,
like still to this day.
still
don't
to
have
this
air
day, they don't have air conditioning.
Hey, question for you. I got a comment here from Diary Butler, Washington. Also, everybody out there that's watching, appreciate it. Share, throw a like. Not asking for donations, just ask for your support. Diary said that school board requested, or District 3 school board member Diary Butler, Washington requested from a board on live TV an increase $8 for bus attendants. I fully support this request. Thoughts on that?
Who she asked for that for?
She's saying that she at a school board meeting on TV, on I guess a live school board meeting, she was advocating for increase to what you all get to bus attendants, I guess drivers and attendants, to $8.
Microphone.
hour.
Yeah.
I guess.
Are those the drivers that work for transportation, or are those the drivers that work for the contractors? You see, first of all, what happens is this, is when you give money, you give the money through the contractor. You don't physically put it in our pocket. Yeah. You give it to the contractor, and then the contractor is supposed to pay it to us in theory. But if you don't put the instructions all the way that way, it doesn't happen. And also, if you don't tell us as drivers that we're giving you this, we half the time don't even know. We don't. I worked here in the county for 3 years, never saw a pay scale, never knew that. And when you work, what happens is you have to work for 5 years before you receive your first raise.
Hold up.
And when they now,
25 years to get to the top.
right, and 25 years to get to the top.
So you say you never saw this request or anything, any downfall from this?
Never saw anything.
Do you even know anything about this request?
Didn't know. That's why I asked you. Where
Yeah, is it for county or is it for
right?
When you say get to the top,
Top
you
pay.
mean like it's like ceiling, like
Oh yeah,
concrete ceiling.
that's
Once
as
you hit
far as
that,
you're gonna go.
Most
What?
contracts have a 5 to 7 year transition where you start the job, and by the end of the 7th year, you progress to the top pay level. In Charles County, because they've allowed contractors to control the money that they actually pay the drivers, it takes 25 years to get to the top pay level. It's 5 years before you get an increase. A starting salary of $24.14 for 5 years before you can get your first raise. And that's basically because the contractors control the finances. A few years ago, the county took the position that they weren't going to show the pay scale that they provided to the contractors to pay their workers. So workers right now aren't even sure what they are supposed to receive. It's up to the contractor. It's up to the contractor to determine the amount of retirement pay that you receive. They control the retirement system. They're the ones who invest the money that we supposedly, and the county and the taxpayers provide, that the county puts in. They've allowed contractors to control that money and to determine how they want to invest the money. I mean, so it really is a situation where the county has basically looked at the contractors as a way to avoid paying the 400 or so drivers or bus workers. Actually, there's more than 400 because you also have attendants, bus workers who get the children to and from school here in Charles County.
Wow.
You want to respond back to Diary's comment right there? She says that it was for the contractors. Mr. Beatty can speak on this.
Okay.
Send her a link.
we've had proposals, and I'm sure the board has seen our proposals, and it's a pay scale that starts from 1 to 6 years. So at 6 years, you would be at top pay. So
Proposal we're making that.
right, right. Well, right. That's the proposal. So $8 sounds good, but until you eliminate the 25-year to top pay, you're not going anywhere. So let's say I'm in my 8th year. I'm at $27.06. It's 2 more years before I even get to my 10th year before I get a raise. If I start tomorrow at $24.15, I have to work 5 years. So yeah, that $8 across the board, but you have to understand contracts and the way things work. Just think about what has happened in the last 5 years, how things have gone up, triple, and you're starting at $25,000 a year right now, and it takes you 5 years before you climb out of that to an extra $2. So we encourage you. We've worked with you. You've helped us. We encourage you to continue to fight so we can sit down in a decent contract so these folks can have retirement and they can have decent pay without 25 years before you get to the top pay.
Let me add something. There's a situation that is known to the county where the contractors have developed an association, and that association pays the cost for the attorneys who are fighting the union to prevent us from having fair wages and benefits, as well as the public relation company that tries to make these companies look as though they're a lot of small businesses, which in fact they are not.
Who's the
There's
public
a few
relations company?
The public relations company we just said is Proctor.
GS Proctor.
And they've paid for a union busting attorney law firm, and I don't remember their name, but the way that the contractors pay these fees is that they are assessed each per bus a certain amount of money that they have to pay every month as an association. So each contractor pays into this pool in order to maintain the attorneys and the public relation company to make sure that they are continuing to fight the union. And they've been, I'm not sure exactly what the fee is. I think it's something like $18, $20 per bus. So some of these contractors put out 20, 30 buses a day. So you can imagine what their monthly expense is to basically fight the union, us getting a fair contract by paying these professionals. So they'd rather spend that money paying professionals than to give their employees fair wages.
Oh, so I even have some questions based off of that. One, I would also love to get Donnery on the podcast too to talk about this too. But even so, the money that the contractors are using to pay GS Proctor and Associates, which sounds like that's their version of a union, but they're fighting you all from having a union.
That's exactly
But
correct.
Also,
That's exactly
the money
correct.
that GS Proctor pays them, that technically comes from the county, right? Because
That's
the
correct.
money that they're giving them.
That's correct. So the county is paying them to fight us so that we can't have a union. And the contractors will turn and say, well, we want what's best for you. Well, if you want what's best for me, then what I need to have is I need to have a union. That's what's best for me.
Give me a seat at the table.
So that's right. Now, I appreciate and I thank Mrs. Washington for doing everything that she does. But the thing that we're looking for here, and we have always wanted, is to have a seat at the table just to tell you.
Well, it's hard to do that if they're getting paid from GS Proctor not to do that.
Yeah, well, they were pretty successful on killing our bill.
GS Proctor was.
GS Proctor was. It was Bill 491, which established a joint employer between the school board and the contractors. So they killed the bill, and what we came out of the bill with was a what was it? A labor. Where we actually sit down and it's a study basically, and uh, and so out of that study we did get something, but we didn't get nearly what we thought we would get. And the study was to get all the players involved, the union, contractors, and the board, our board members.
All we got out of it was conversation.
What?
That's really all we got out of it.
Yeah, we got conversation out, but we did get 8 hours guaranteed.
Well, let's talk about that 8 hours, just so we understand what happened here.
Also, before you go on, we'll let you do. Dottery, that's a question I asked as far as if you receive campaign money for GS Proctor. Obviously, we can look it up, but you're right here, so I'll just like a quick yes or no.
Also, we'd love to have you on the podcast too to talk about
Next time, we'll let
everything.
these gentlemen do
talk
their
about
thing.
GS Proctor
Absolutely.
and all that.
Okay, so what happened was this. We had the task force, and we sat down and we talked about, and however, the focus was taken off from what the drivers and attendants that work for contractors want. The focus was taken off of there. And so we were unable to truly address that, okay? And where it left us is, we were left was, well, we either go to court or we go on strike or we do something like that. The contractors came along and they said, well, we represent these drivers, and as representing these drivers, we want them to have 8 hours, okay? So it had already been part of our proposal that has been submitted to the school board, to the superintendent, to the county commissioners, to our other elected representatives that we have out here for the state. And they all have a copy of our proposal, and our proposal included an 8-hour day guarantee. That's what it had in it. So it wasn't like they just popped up. That's where it came from, because we gave it to them. So they picked the one that they decided, okay, this sounds like this will work and will have the least harm to us.
Well, and the reason they picked that is because the vast majority, some 80 to 90% of the drivers were already working over 7 hours anyway. So it wasn't a situation where they were going to have to make a change where the majority of drivers were working less than 6 hours or so. The majority of drivers were already working close to 8 hours. And that's why it was an easy choice for them to accept, because it wasn't near the cost if they had actually looked into allowing us to sit at the table and talk about all of the benefits that a driver here in Charles County should receive, so that we were being compensated similar to other drivers throughout the DMV.
Now realize the drivers at the county, the drivers that work for transportation, those drivers get a raise every year. It's in writing. They get it. Every year, they're going to at least make $1,000 more than they made last year. They don't have to wait no 5 years to get a raise. We're waiting 5. Now, what they like to come back and talk about is the cost of living. They say, well, you got a cost of living rate. So if I'm making less than $1,500 a month and you give me a 3% raise, what did you give me, 25 cents? Okay, so that's no raise. Now, so in order to give me, right. So you're really not giving. I mean, and when they talk about raises, we had a contractor that we were negotiating with, and they said to us, "Well, we give them 25 cents more." Like 25 cents an hour is a big deal.
Hooray!
I mean, come on. That's no. I mean, what are you going to do with that 20? I mean, come on. So, but what happens is, because they said we're going to give them a raise, that's the word that goes. Well, we gave them a raise, but the raise was nothing. Okay. Now, I'm sorry.
I got a couple comments I want to get to here too. I want to read one by one. One from Derek, one from Dottery, and Pascal. Pascal, how you doing? Dottery said, yes, she has taken money from GS Proctor. Obviously, it's public information, but she's here, so I wanted to answer. We'll dive into that as we go forward. I want to read Derek's comment here. Let's be clear, and then I'll read Derek's comment, respond, and then we'll just go back and forth from there. Shout out to the interaction from the people out there too. Derek, DT, let's be clear. Contractors solicit contracts for profit. Having worked with contractors, I can tell you their main obligations are to provide a statement of work, outline the salary range, and deliver the service to the lowest personnel cost. Typically, benefits and pensions are the contractor's responsibility, not the client's. That's why I questioned. Oh, my fault. Another comment came in. That's why I questioned why Charles County entered into agreement where they pay a portion of contractor pensions and or benefits. If the county chooses to do so, then it has to be a fiscal responsibility to ensure those pensions and or benefits are fair and comparable to industry standards. The only real way to secure that fairness is to have a union or collective body speak on your behalf. Do you want to give some thoughts on that comment?
Let me share something about the fact that they have advertised and promoted and had their public relation firms saying that they're small businesses and that there's 17 or more. But the reality is a number of these contractors have two or three different names, but it's still all the same family. A number of them. We're talking, they
Welcome
say
to Charles
17
County.
in Charles County. So what they've done is they've started a company, and then they've given their son another company, and then they're giving their wife another company. But
Doing
they're all
business as.
doing business as, but they're all still the same company. So each one of these now companies are generating millions of dollars. So it's not a situation where you have 17 small businesses. You have a couple of very large businesses making a lot of millions of dollars a year, calling themselves small businesses because one brother has one mother has one, another brother has one. But it's still, and a lot of them use the same lot, yet they're compensated as though they have 3 lots.
And
so
those
they have,
names
wait,
are
what?
again?
Pardon me?
The names of the lots and the families too?
In other words, each one has their own independent.
No, I'm saying
as
who
an
are we
independent
talking
contractor.
about? Like
If you
a
want to
face and
know
name.
who the names of the company are, very easy to get them, okay? Because if you go to Charles County Public School Systems,
Okay.
and you look for contractors, they have a section in there under transportation, and it says contractors. It will give you the contractors' names and their addresses. Okay. You will also notice them on the side of every single one of the buses, that they own. The county does not have any name there, but all the contractors all have their names on the side of the buses. So they're out there, and they are making good money. Because as I said, if they weren't making money, how could you pass something to someone else that's not a money maker? The only way you'd pass it is if it was making money.
Yeah.
And they're not even passing it. All they're doing at the same time is sharing it. And in other words, as I said a moment ago, if the father started the business and he can give another name and start another contract get the bid for another contractor in his wife's name, and then the bid for another contractor in his son's name, that family has three contractors basically being paid all by the county. And so what was once payment to only one contractor, which may have been several $1 million, now you got that times 3 to the same family. And that's what we're talking about. That's when we say generational wealth.
The list that I just sent you is a list that, and you can look and see where one company has three different names. Keller, 4 different people, 2 different companies. Dyson, 3 different companies, and there's a few other. Right.
It's a lot of money on here.
Yeah,
There's
right.
a lot of
I'm
money.
going to share this to the comment section.
Right,
I'm going to take a
so-
picture and just post it.
That's several.
they're
But it's still
Probably-
accurate information for
So they're
2018,
probably making
2021.
more money
Right,
from that
and
than
we
they-
just
now than
we
they
just
were then.
put the
Wow.
the new one out in one of our newsletters of what they're being compensated now. I want to get back to the gentleman of the pension that he mentioned that
Derek Terry's comment.
Okay. I hope I can answer your question. But let's do this. If you're a contractor and you only have to pay $8 a month for 10 months towards your employee's pension, the employee puts $8. The county puts $1,000. Okay. That $1,000 is given to 3 contractors. They are the actuary, they're the CEO, and who else? But it's 3 of them.
They control it.
They
in other words.
control the retirement system. For years, they had it in nationwide, And anybody know Nationwide damn sure ain't on your side. So people were getting like maybe a 1% return or 2% return or loss. In most cases, loss. So we raised so much cane about this because we wanted to come over as part of our proposal to ATU or the state, so these folks could have something to retire on. So they said, okay. So they looked at we gave them suggestions, and one of them was Todd, Lincoln Todd's company, Lincoln Investment. Lincoln Investment.
Right, Lincoln Investment.
So what they did, they sent all the paperwork out, and so Lincoln Investment told them that they couldn't represent them as contractors because they were non-union. So
they had better rates. We could get better rates. We could earn more money.
Right.
It was better for the drivers and attendants, but they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it. So what happened after that? We showed that these people are actually losing money. Okay, so what happened? They dropped Nationwide, and one of the guys who was the plan was given to Benjamin Compton, which we have said it's a conflict of interest.
Wait. That's a contractor, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
He's a nephew.
He's a nephew, and so he gets the pension plan, and he had license with Nationwide, and so after they dropped Nationwide, he started his own company. So here's the problem: the board is not. The board should be accountable for this pension plan, and they just give the contract. They just give the money to the contractor every year. That's it. Do what you have to do.
No audits are done on any of the money that they're paying out to these folks. So they just pay them the money. They don't even know if it actually goes to the driver that is supposed to, that's running that route.
Oh, hold on. Get the mic.
Right.
Oh.
So we have exposed a whole lot, and
double entendre.
Right, and we have the best we could do under the circumstances with the union helping us with the politicians that were willing to help us. But when you have county contractors getting the kind of money that they're getting there, and they spent last year over $100,000 with G.S. Proctor as their lobbyist. That money could have been going towards some of these drivers' retirement, short-term disability, long-term disability, reducing their health care. Why should a person pay out of pocket every month for health care, and then if you get sick, you got your deduction is $8,000. That is ridiculous.
Something that has occurred.
Last one, then I'm want to get a doctor's comment from here too.
Something that has occurred since we've started this campaign is that things have stagnated, and they've stagnated because a number of contractors have refused to come to any legal negotiations. An attorney who is specifically dealing with Charles County through ATU, an ATU attorney has found that the majority of contractors have either stalled or refused to negotiate. Letters have gone out. The National Labor Relations Board has received a number of complaints about the companies refusing to negotiate, in addition to which these companies are still intimidating their employees. They're getting their employees basically to sign a petition, or asking their employees to sign a petition saying they don't want to be in the union anymore, or they're not interested in the union anymore, under threat of losing their job, under threat of not getting the route that they would like to have. These employers are doing everything they can to prevent the union from actually having an opportunity to negotiate with the contractor. And so just as recently as this week, another one of the contractors, Dinks, has been calling her employees saying that you no longer want to be in the union, right? Sign this petition. And she's not the only one. D&J has done the same thing. D&J has used their relatives who are also employees with that contractor to request that all the employees sign a petition that they no longer want to be in the union. And D&J has refused to even address the request from the union to sit down and negotiate, even though D&J is a union contractor.
Nanny Chef.
There's others. Nanny Chef is now doing the same thing. As I said, Dinks just started doing it this week because they're finding that that's a way to continue to stall the process to prevent the union from even sitting down to negotiate a contract. So it's a situation where people aren't seeing this, but that's why it's taking so long for us to actually be able to assist or change the process here in Charles County. As I said earlier, the contractors have banded together and formed an association, which is a union, and basically paying money every month to make sure that their employees are not represented by a union.
Using tax dollars.
Using tax dollars.
My dollars. And paying money to who?
They're
Paying money to the public relation firm and to the union busting attorney.
And the public relation firm, G.S. Proctor, gets money to who?
They get money from the contractor.
From the contractor. But this is all
From the association.
For association.
Association. All the 17 contractors belong to the Charles County Association. So how they raise money to fight us, for every bus that the contractor has, say for instance you got 20 buses, they charge $18.90 for every bus, including the spare buses. So that's how they raise the revenue to pay G.S. Proctor and to pay these union busting attorneys to fight. That's the money. If they were just putting it on the table for these people's pension and raises, we wouldn't have to go 25 years before a person gets to top pay. When you do a 5-year pay scale, you're guaranteeing to keep that person in poverty, or you want that person just long enough to get you through those 3 or 4 years and get on out of here, because I need to bring somebody else in. Because if I'm constantly bringing somebody in at $24 $24 an hour, and it takes them 5 years to get to the next pay. I know that unless they have a pension from someplace else doing it, they're not going to be here. So the turnover keeps me paying the lower wages and keeps person in poverty.
which is one of the main.
I want to read this comment and go from there.
Which is one of the main reasons there's always a shortage of drivers here in Charles County. These contractors have their sign out all the time. They're sign requesting new drivers. And the reason is they rely on keeping these drivers at low pay, rely on this 5 years at $24 an hour. And then once the driver recognizes or is able to move to the next pay scale, is usually a situation by that time they've already left. You don't get a lot of new drivers here. You get people who basically are, as we said earlier, having to work 2 jobs who are able to stay on as drivers. Okay? And one point I wanted to clarify, this cost per bus that they're paying to the attorneys, the union busting attorneys and public relation firms, it's a monthly fee. It's not a one-time. So they're paying that for each bus. They're paying so many thousands of dollars every month into this pool of money to maintain the cost for these attorneys and the public relations
So
firm.
you don't get paid.
Pardon me?
To keep as much money in their pocket so your people don't get paid.
Exactly.
And using government, like they're using
Taxpayer
the money
money.
that comes with the
Taxpayer
taxpayers to
money.
do this.
Taxpayer
It's just disgusting.
Yes,
I want to read this comment by Dottie, but I'll let you get
Go
the
ahead.
first response from there. I think we kind of touched that, but I'm just going to just read step by step. She said, I thought G.S. Proctor was hired by the contractors. You can't have it both ways. G.S. Proctor was not hired by the school, but by the contractors.
That's true. That's true. And we covered that. And I think we were very clear on how the system works. I explained that. And you've worked with us, Ms. Washington, and we hope to continue to work with you. We just got to bring some more those board folks around and have them to read their bylaws and know what they're supposed to do and who's supposed to run the board.
That's the point I want to comment on.
Go
It
ahead.
has to do with the what help we need from the school board. The reason why we asked for you guys to come there was, and what we expected initially was for you guys to at least sit at the table and talk to us. That's where it all begins. If you can't sit at the table or sit across the table with us, listen to our discussion, listen to what our concerns are, listen why, listen to the history, listen to about what needs to be done, you can't best address the situation because you haven't heard the situation yet. You're listening to someone that's giving you an unclear perspective. If you listen to the contractors, they're telling you what's best for them. That's what's in their best interest. But we have drivers and attendants that have hired ATU to represent them. And you knew last time that when the contract was signed, you knew when that contract went out that those workers had hired ATU. They didn't hire the Contractors Association. So when you were talking to the Contractors Association, you weren't talking to us. And so what we ask you to do is you can sit as a quorum or you can sit as a non-quorum. But I ask you to sit across the table from us and let us discuss it with you and go so that, right, to give you a clear picture. Okay, and then once you have that, then we can go from there.
A lot of what we said today, we've said before the Board of Education. It's not much that we've said today, if anything, that they haven't already heard. What we're asking for is to sit at the table when they're making the negotiations to determine how they're going to pay our compensation, because they instruct the contractors as to the minimum amount to pay, as to they know that we don't get any holiday pay. We have basically chose to vote for ATU to represent us so ATU can sit at the table when they're making the decision. This year, they're going to sit at the table again with the contractors. And as of right now, they're not allowing ATU to sit at the table. And ATU has well over 200 bus workers, represents well over 200 bus workers that they are denying any opportunity to participate in this new contract that they're going to be developing during the next school year.
So they won't let you sit at the table. So how do they go about that? What do you do in that situation?
That's been the primary issue regarding joint employer. They control what the contractors get. They control and define where the money is to be spent by the contractors. But they won't allow the representatives for the workers to actually sit at the table. And that's why they deny that there's a joint employer, because they recognize that would put responsibility with the Board of Education, with the superintendent, to also make sure that the drivers are paid fairly, compensated fairly. They've chose not to do that.
And
So
with
Rick-
GS Proctor paying them, they have no incentive to do anything about that.
Right, and you know, Proctor, GS Proctor knows their way around Annapolis. They have people on staff. They're there all the time, and so I guess from someone on the outside looking in, and would say, well, why can't we get together? Well, the runs that the county has come under municipality. Okay, and under municipality, we go back to the Supreme Court ruling back in I think '85 or whatever. It was the Janus ruling, which meant that outside unions like ATU could not represent municipalities. So we're stuck with the National Labor Relations Board unless we prove that it's a joint employer. And so between that and the state has guidelines that they give the school board, which is called Comar. And those guidelines have been set for the state. So they use those two things, the Supreme Court decision, the fact that they're municipality employees. So they're taking the position until we go to court and the courts rule that it's a joint employer. Now, back in 2014, this gentleman and some others, they did go to court. They went to the federal court. Well, the judge said that, yes, They are a joint employer. The problem, they were in federal court, and they need to be in state court. And so you have 48% of the bus contractors in the state of Maryland are contractors. So we're Charles County, about 170,000 in population and growing, fighting to get joint employer. So it doesn't just stop here.
Well, let me just add, the few contractors who have sat down and discussed the contract, a possible contract with ATU, have all stated they cannot give any real details or
they can't do anything.
explain why they can or can't provide the economics in the contract because they have to rely on the county to tell them what's available. So the contractors themselves have said over and over again, oh, it's not a situation where we control that. We can't control it. The county controls that. Until the county gives us a contract, we won't be able to specify what we can do to assist you. Because, again, it's controlled by the county.
And they pay the county, so they don't do anything.
You,
I'm just looking at this sheet. These numbers are rather large.
And those are old numbers. Those old numbers.
2021.
Yeah, we'll get you our newsletter that has the new ones in there. I thought I.
Send it. I'll post everything. I got no
Okay,
problem
yeah.
with it. Numbers
Well,
numbers are good. I like
yeah.
numbers. Numbers and names.
Michael.
we're in the process right now of getting the numbers for the 24-25 school year. Okay, so those numbers are like 3 years old. So we're going to get the 24-25 school year numbers that the contractors have been paid by Charles County taxpayers, and we'll get that information to you.
So it sounds like that anyone that's taking GS Proctor money just won't be on your side.
Well, I don't know about that as much as I know that the contractors.
A little bit closer to the microphone.
I know that the contractors have banded together in their association to make sure that they can continue to control the wealth that comes from the taxpayers here at Charles County, and that they can minimize what they have to pay their workers.
And the point I'm consistently making with the core group is that when I look at the fact that the contractors are they're a group with an association that's basically a union group themselves, and I look at the fact that the tactics and everything that they're doing, which is against the best interests of their workers, and we know that. The school board knows that. But yet, they still do business with someone that does that type of thing. Okay, you would think that if you know somebody that there's a rotten egg in the field, you're not going to bother with that rotten egg. Okay, so when the contractors are doing what they're doing, and you can obviously see it, okay, they're not hiding it, okay? So we obviously know that they're not negotiating. They're refusing to negotiate. Now, on the school board level, they don't have that as an issue. They negotiate with ASME and the other teachers' unions and all. So their workers, everybody else that works in the school system, they are represented by a union. And they sit down at the table and they negotiate. Okay? So those are understandable people for them to do. But when you look at the contractors here who have hired these workers and don't want these workers to have a voice, they don't want them to have a voice. Because the only voice they want anybody to hear is their voice, because that's in their best interest. So, and I've tried to explain to them that you can only have one representative. You can't have, the contractors don't represent the drivers. We do. It's clear.
Yeah.
Contractors represent the contract.
No one's, I've never seen a situation.
After you, I'm gonna get to these comments.
All right, cool. I've never seen a situation where your quote unquote
Watch that cord
employer,
right
I
here.
mean, because you all from even talking to you all now, you all do have, it sounds like a joint employer, but even a contractor, their first priority is going to be their personal profits. And even
that's
they
correct.
are using their profits to pay to have anti-union labor force. But the one question I have too is that, as you were saying, a rotten egg theory, how are they not audited? Because who's making sure that the money that the school system is giving to the contractors, that that money is actually going to you all, it's actually going to safety, actually going to these other things as well?
And that's a question that we have. You're talking about accountability. And there has been no accounting, and I've asked that question consistently. Where is the accountability for whatever money is going out the door and where it's going, to make sure that it's going for what it's intended to go for? What are they spending it for?
And have you all had situations where it is people who are supposed to be on a certain step and who aren't getting that?
Yes, we have had people, you're exactly what you said, that are supposed to be receiving a certain amount of income or rate or hourly rate, and they're not receiving. And only when they and those people have been brave enough, because what will happen is some people will actually know that they're not getting paid, but they don't want to say anything because they're afraid that they'll get fired. Okay.
We have had contractors who have paid their employees in cash in an envelope without any statement or period of which the payment.
That's
is
correct.
for.
That's correct.
There have been contractors who have given checks that have bounced. There have been contractors who have just missed paydays.
What?
Okay,
That's
so it's not a
correct.
situation. And again, the county's aware of all this. The county's aware of all this.
And they're just allowing it to keep going.
Right. And so here's what happens. So if you want to close your ears so that you don't hear, if you don't sit down and talk with us, then we can't tell you. So you play it that way, where, I don't want to hear what you got to say, because if I don't hear it, I can ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
That's correct.
And are those same contractors still operating today?
Yes, they are.
yes,
And
they
that's the thing. That's what I can't understand. When you have people that are doing those certain things, how do you continue doing business with people that way? Because you see that they are not honest. They are not fair. They're not right. Okay? You see that.
Audited.
Yeah,
That's
well,
true, and they're not audited.
I can remember meeting with some of the officials and asking them, why aren't you having audits? And they said, well, it's costs too much. It's easier to just give them a contract, set some guidelines, some guidelines, and then go from there. So to address the situation with the contractor who has paid in cash and only given receipts out, that's a violation. So we've filed with labor. One of the contractors we just brought OSHA in, and they were fined somewhere about $2,500 for safety issues. So it was in Baywatch and also on the news. And so when we get reports from our lot folks that are our lot representatives, and we act on it. And so there are times we have to bring OSHA in. There are times that we have to bring labor in. We're looking at bringing in internal revenue in on one of the contractors, because what we believe that contractor is doing on paper is showing that they're taking the money, but yet and still they're not sending it out. FIPER and so we're looking into that too.
When he says we, he's talking about ATU. He's talking about the legal representative that the workers have chosen to represent them. These things were not being done by the school board. These things were not being done by Charles County Public Schools. Again, that's why it's necessary to have representation for the workers. It's a situation where workers have just gotten used to being mistreated. A number of the contractors have lots that have situations that there's no bathroom, there's no rest area. A lot of the lots have dogs running around.
What?
Substandard conditions.
And these workers have just unfortunately had to deal with it. We've got a number of workers, bus workers who are older women and afraid to get out of their car unless they call the contractor and say, "Hey, the dog's here. I can't get out my car to get on my bus to go pick up the kids."
Oh, what's the contractor saying?
The dog's still running around. I can tell you that now. So,
What lot is this? What lot is this?
well, I don't want to go in detail because there's more than one lot.
Yeah.
Give me 2 lots.
And you're
Well,
I want a couple lots.
Well, I'll
I want to
give
make
you-
sure these people are named properly so we can put the right pressure on that.
Well,
and
we've
stop.
already reported it. So it's Stanley bus service is one of them. So we've got some issues there. There's a contractor that's running 15 buses and receiving one on their new raise and $1.2 million a year, and checks bouncing, insufficient funds. So we got some issues, and we've asked the county to reel them in. Now the county's had a couple meetings with them and have given them alternatives to straighten up their acts. And we're not trying to put anybody out of business because 15 of those employees, we represent them. We want what's fair, and we want the contractor to do what they're supposed to do. Our members shouldn't have to go to the bank and the checks, the money is not in the bank, and they tell them, okay, well, come on back in 2 or 3 days or a week. You paying them cash, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So what we're bringing forward, we're not just throwing it out there. We've already informed the system through the county. The county has brought them in, and given them, a deadline. So we'll see.
So they are aware.
I do want to read this comment here,
ahead,
and then
yeah.
I'll
Go
let you get the first crack at it. All right, Pascal. I know you had a couple on here. Pascal, how you doing tonight? She says, please attend legislative nights to advocate with your delegates and senators and system leaders. I didn't see one union member there this year. That is a missed opportunity for your advocacy efforts. I did see bus contractors absolutely advocating for their employees. That's a space to do it.
Okay, so what we discovered is this. We were always going to the school board meetings, okay? And we would voice what I can say. First of all, you get 3 minutes to speak.
It's crazy.
Right.
Not here.
And so having 3 minutes to speak, and you have to and there is no back and forth. We just talk to you, and you do whatever it is you're doing, okay? And there's no rebuttal, there's no questions, there's
Half of
no
them
nothing.
don't even look at you.
Right, they don't even look. So we saw that unless we come there in numbers, okay? As a matter of fact, they don't even show the people that are in the audience, okay? They show the people that are at the podium, and they show the school board members. That's what they show. They don't show who's in the audience, because I assume they don't want the public to know who's there.
We've come in numbers,
So
there's been no result.
right. So we have discovered that going there that doesn't really do anything for us. We can complain, we try to publicize it, but it doesn't really do anything for us. Okay, so we have decided not to take that tactic, but of course ATU was there at the May school board meeting. The young lady we mentioned to you who died, she was the one that spoke.
Now,
Nia
There were
Banks.
several speakers.
Right. And so we have gone there and presented our case there before. We've also gone to the commissioner's office. The commissioner's meeting. So and we've also talked to them. And we've gone up to Annapolis. We've talked to our senators and our representatives up in Annapolis, and we've testified.
And what
there.
happened up there in Annapolis?
Well, as a result of that, all we had was the task force. But what we had first proposed to happen, it got changed due to political pressure and due
From
to
the contractors.
Right.
From the contractors. Again, that's when they hired the public relation firm.
And they paid
to
everybody.
basically, Exactly.
Right.
To basically eliminate or kill our request that they show that it's a joint employer relationship. So again, the contractors are very comfortable retaining the wealth that they've accumulated, and as I said earlier, growing their family wealth, their generational wealth. And that's really the obstacle that we're confronted with on a daily basis. That's why bus drivers here in Charles County, again, are some of the lowest paid in the DMV.
So y'all are saying that, because even you all answered Pascal's question. Actually, you all expounded on it too. So they're not. So you all have been to the school board. You all have
Yes.
been to the county commissioners.
Yes.
You've gone to the delegates, and
Yes.
you've gone to the senators. And even when you went
Yes.
to the delegates and the senators, you all had a bill. And then through the magic of lobbying, I guess you could
Right.
call it,
That's correct.
is that the same delegates and senators who sponsored your legislation changed it to benefit the contractors.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, it was Bill 491, and what it outlined was the two parties were a joint employer. And the reason we have been pushing that, because they are. There's no way of getting around it. And I did give you an example of Vango, same system, the way they operate, and the way the school board operates. So,
And
yeah,
people generally expect that because we ride around on a bus.
Right.
There's big letters on it that says Charles County Public Schools. So they think that's who we work for.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why they figure we must be joint employed. We must work for the school board. It makes sense.
I mean, even as you all were expounding on it, literally the school system sets pay. The school system sets pays into you all's retirement plans, pays into all this, which even goes to what Derek Terry was saying earlier. Of normally in government contracts, that's not how it works. It's normally as you put in a bid, and then that's when you all would be able to negotiate with that contractor because they put in that bid.
Right.
But here, legit, the school system has almost just as much say, or even not more, than the contractor.
More. The school.
We have a radio on our bus, and on that radio on the bus,
Who's it go to?
which goes to transportation to the school board. Okay, so they direct our every day where it is we go and what it is they tell us
from
what
the
to
very
do
from
over
the very
radio.
from the very start, you cannot drive a school bus in Charles County unless the school, Board of Education Transportation Department certifies you. Contractor, they can hire whoever they want, but unless you're certified by the Transportation Department for Charles County schools, you can't drive a bus in Charles County, not a school bus. Secondly, you have to take a class. The training before you can actually drive a bus comes from the county. You have to go to the county training in order to actually qualify to drive a bus. Then, if there's an issue, any kind of issue, the review board that the county controls determines whether or not you can continue to drive. Not the contractor. The contractor only hires you for the most part and is paid a certain amount of money to actually give you your check. Short of that, until a year ago when we started complaining, we could go for months without having to see our contractor. As long as your check was
direct deposit.
direct deposit, you didn't have to even see it. You just go to the contractor's lot to pick up the bus. But the county controlled everything. The county controlled, and if the county takes your certification away, you basically can't drive, so the contractor doesn't need you anymore.
And you have no so think of this. If they take away your certification, you go into work tomorrow, okay, and you work today, and you go into work tomorrow, and they say you can't work here. And there is no, we're going to give you a notice, and you get a period of time, and we're going to reassign you to another job or give you some desk. They're not going to do any. They are no, you don't drive anymore. Okay,
And until we actually started explaining what's actually going on, the county was real clear in saying, no, this is what you're going to be paid. They only changed that once we actually started to show that the county determines how much money we're paid. Wow. So the county really, as we've been saying, is the primary employer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you begin to understand that you're working in a system where if you have a problem, okay, so let's say you come out and you get on the bus in the morning, and there's a problem with the bus in the morning. You know, you have to be careful what you complain about and who you complain to, okay, because there could be something wrong with the bus, but you don't want to tell anybody because if they're going to assign you to another bus, that may be a rickety bus, and you know you don't want to drive that rickety bus.
Oh.
So you'd rather take your broke bus and try driving that than get on the other rickety. So those type of decisions are made by drivers in the morning when they first get on the bus.
So
okay,
can I?
you got some questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple comments here, so
You got a
let's.
lot,
Yeah.
yeah. Go
We
ahead,
start-
Rick, 'cause
we start-
I just got my mind's just coming with questions. And
No. I like this conversation
Nah,
right here.
this-
Okay.
We'll keep streamlining. But Derek, so this is a question that I think we may have talked about earlier, as far as union support from other unions in the county. The EACC, obviously teachers union, have they been in your corner on this, or have they stayed quiet? They had no issue officially weighing in on the charter changes for the students and teachers, but your topic impacts the overall quality of education for more directly. If not, the silence is telling. Have the EACC reached out to you at all? Have you done any work with them?
Yeah, we worked with through ATU. We've been working with other unions.
The EACC, in particular?
Yes, I believe so.
I mean, on our venture down here.
Yeah, Charles County EACC.
I don't know that they
No.
have.
No.
They haven't reached out to my knowledge.
Yeah,
The
right.
Charles County Teachers Union hasn't reached out to.
No, not at all.
Have you all reached out to them as far as like working together at all, or see if they would like support what you all are doing? Come to school board meetings.
When we were going to the school board meetings, they were against us. Matter of fact, they told us, I never forget talking to the president, and she said, "You guys are going about this the wrong way." And so we called her. I called her, and how are we supposed to be going about it? Are you guys willing to work with us? See, the teachers ASME is pretty strong in Maryland. It's about 40,000. The teachers union. They have represent close to, I believe, like 40,000. So the bus drivers here, we're talking about 350, and so to them we're at the bottom, and so. I remember one of the officials telling me, say that I don't understand why y'all are complaining about it takes 25 years to get the top pay, because it takes us 25 years to get the top pay. I said, okay, we got people right now at 25 years and making $30,000 a year. You can't tell me that you have teachers with 25 years making 30,000. They're making six figures. So we kill that argument, So, and as Mr. Ned said earlier, the responsibility is much greater. I understand that a teacher has to have a degree and so much, but that teacher stands up and puts it on the board. If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. But we're responsible for when that kid gets on the bus to make sure she's sitting down. We're responsible if we have an accident. All kind of investigations.
Well, let me revisit that,
Yeah, right.
because
So-
again, bus drivers have the most responsibility and the most liability. I was in a situation where a high school student was getting off the bus, and within a matter of few minutes or moments of him getting off the bus, he was shot and later died at the hospital. That shooter, if he had been seen by the student because they knew one another, had chose not to get off the bus, the shooter could have very easily got right on the bus. And again, these buses carry 66 children. This is the most vulnerable spot in the day for a child is not when he's in this classroom. These schools are locked up. They have police in the school. The most vulnerable period is in the morning when they're picked up and in the afternoon when they're being driven home by bus drivers, because anybody could get on that bus. You could have up to 60-something children on a bus with no protection whatsoever.
How does anybody just get on the bus? What do you mean?
When you stop to open the bus for the children to get out, you usually have the door open, if not a minute or more, up to whatever time it takes for the student to get up and get off the bus. And if there's several students getting up and getting off the bus, it could be well over a couple of minutes while you have that door wide open. Anybody could walk on the bus while they're getting off the
What
bus.
about the morning?
Same thing in the morning. You're waiting for the children. Often you're waiting for the children
Right.
to come from their home or wherever the bus stop is and get on the bus. The door is open the whole time.
So anyone could just walk on.
Anybody can get on the bus.
I mean, obviously, I try to walk on the bus. That's going to be
Well,
it's
a
a little
lot
bit
of parents walk their children to the bus.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of adults come right to the door with their children. So it's not unusual for a parent in the afternoon to come to the door to get their children. The door is open.
But how would you even regulate that system? I mean, you're just running your route.
Well, no, I'm just saying right now, the liability and the vulnerability
That is
a
true.
driver has.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. These buses aren't locked up like the schools are. Okay? There's no protection. Not to mention the liability. You're driving a bus with up to 60-something children on it. Icy roads, snow. You basically have a lot of liability there. If
My
there's a
kids ride the
problem,
bus.
you're
Absolutely.
responsible. You're responsible. Yet we're among professionals, because you have to be a professional to get a certified driver's license to drive that bus. We're the least paid. Yet we have the most responsibility and the most reliability.
We're going to talk about some action here. I want to get to that towards. Well, I want to get to do some of this. I want to talk about SB 727.
Did we answer that last question?
Which one?
The one that.
The one I have highlighted?
Yeah, the one that you gave me. Did we?
Oh yeah, the one about you talking about the one about the working with the teachers union or
Have we?
yeah.
Microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
want to
we
talk
wanna go
about the SB?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to do that?
Absolutely.
All right,
You right
so
there.
yes, so
You got
Pascal Small is asking. So what did you all think about HB 1359 or SB's 727, which came to the General Assembly last session? I can read what the bill says. I have SB 727, which was sponsored by the Charles County Senators, which our Charles County Senators are Senator Arthur Ellis and Senator Michael Jackson. Basically, it's a synopsis on the General Assembly website that says requiring the Charles County Board of Education to provide at least 10 years notice and hold a certain public hearing at least 5 years before taking any action that results in a certain displacement of a person that has been providing student bus transportation services in Charles County. I have my own thoughts. I'll let y'all go ahead and take it.
Well, when I asked the school system personnel, the director and his supervisor, when I asked them that question, their reply was they knew about it and they laughed. Okay, so they were not concerned.
Wait, who
okay?
laughed
And
at that?
those officials they didn't believe it, and it was no way I could believe that you would give anybody a 10-year notice before you fire them.
And
I
that's
thought
what-
it was absolutely ridiculous.
And that's one thing I do want to highlight with that. Like, can you all, because the way that I read the bill, some people may, and I'm not sure what Pascal was trying to get out here, is that the persons that they're talking about, is that you all as bus drivers or is that the contractor?
It's contractors.
Okay, so they're saying that.
The Contractors Association put together a bill with the public relation firm and the attorneys that they're taking that so much money per month per bus and proposed that bill so that they could not basically lose their contractorship with Charles County. They wanted a guarantee that for at least the next 10 years they could bring in this money. And that was the basis of that bill.
So it was dead. You know, it was dead on arrival because nobody, if you're a contractor, and we fought for them to get the 3 years that they have now, because if we're entering into contract negotiation, ATU, we only signed 3 to 4 year contracts. So they did get a 3-year contract, but we weren't really against it. But we knew there was no way in the world it would pass, and it didn't.
I mean, even reading that bill, the bill honestly doesn't help you all at all. Like, it has nothing to do with you all, and it just honestly solidifies the system that you all are in and say, hey, now you have 10 years. But also, why would the government look and say, hey, yeah, let us be on the hook for 10 years to these contractors who we're not auditing, we're not holding accountable, we're letting them just do whatever. But hey, we're stuck with y'all for 10 years. Get the microphone.
Campaign finance.
Here's the reason why.
Exactly.
Here's the reason why. Because they know, the contractors know, that Navarro and the school board are bringing in more personnel. They hadn't done that before. In other words, until Keller, which closed up, and they got all those workers come working over there, they only had maybe 1 or 2 people that worked for the school board. But once that happened, there's been an attrition with more and more drivers, and they are actively soliciting now. They want more drivers to come work for the school board, and they're actively going out buying more buses. And so the contractors see a threat coming from the school board, that the school board is going to be doing something else. So they feel that they're trying to put them out of business. They also put into place, when they had the new contract, this supposed thing that where they had to do an evaluation of each contractor. So each contractor had to do a questionnaire, and they have it every day or every week or whatever it is. Certain questions they had to ask, but of course those questions had nothing to do with us in terms of how we're being treated and what's going on with us. None of that was part of the evaluation. Okay.
Yeah. What were the questions?
The kind of questions were whether or not you're getting your buses to pick up the students and get them to school on time. Things are whether or not you're buying equipment that is able to efficiently get the students. In other words, some of the contractors had old equipment and they weren't replacing it. They were using the old equipment for years. And it had a number of things like that where the county wanted to put certain standards in place to ensure that the kids got to school. It wasn't related to the workers for the contractors. It related to whether or not the contractors were getting the kids to school, whether the equipment was right, whether the contractors had enough personnel to get to pick up the children for the contract that they had with the county. So those are the kind of things that the county started to evaluate. And some contractors weren't doing what they had were contracted to do. And so the county at that point decided, well, we're going to have a rating system. And based on that, if you fulfill the terms of the contract, make sure that you get the kids to school with the necessary buses and update your equipment and so forth, it won't be a problem. But if you don't, then there's going to be a mark against you. And if you get so many marks against you, we won't renew your contract.
So think about this. You're a driver and you have a certain route that you're supposed to run every day. You know what your route is, the kids you pick up, the stops that you stop at. So you're doing your route, and what happens is somebody else doesn't come to work, or the driver for whatever reason is no longer working that particular route. Now you, in addition to having to do your route, have to do their route too within the same period of time. So what that does is that places you now in a situation where you have to rush to do a job. You're going to have to, because if you were doing the job before and you were only doing your route and getting to school on time, and now you've got to do 2 routes or 3 routes, you are going to be behind. You're going to be in a rush.
And again,
okay?
That goes back to the fact that these contractors are always trying to get people to work for little or nothing, and they're losing drivers. And so therefore, some of these contractors were finding that they had to have their drivers pick up 2 or 3 different loads. In other words, rather than having 3 buses pick up the normal students for each bus, they have 1 bus picking up for all 3 of these routes. And so that was an issue. That was becoming an issue for the county. So these were the kind of things that the county was looking at when they decided to have that rating system.
More kids on the bus, more routes you're taking, less pay. Which one? Do you want to take we got a couple comments here. You want the one that's highlighted?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. It's just statements from here. I'm going to read a couple of these, and then we'll just go back and forth before we keep moving from here. Because I got one very major question to ask the 3 of you before we get out of here. Derek Terry, there should be a contract and officer monitoring budget, and in some cases, statement of work if CCPS does not have a contract officer representative. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. You've been here the longest, so you can take it.
When you say contractor officer that monitors the budget, and there is no contractor office that the school system has, okay. So here's what happens: we have an inspection. School's getting ready to start, so within the next 2 weeks, what's going to happen is the buses are taken through an inspection. Are the tires okay? Are the brakes okay? Does the door open? Those general type of things. Okay. And now, me as a driver, I really don't want to say anything. Okay, because if I say something, my bus may not make it through inspection. So I'm going to kind of be quiet about that. Now, you're talking, when you said contracting officer, I'm not really sure Are you talking about for the general contract, the written contract?
Somebody that monitors and looks over. You mentioned there was no audit when it comes to.
Right.
No.
That's
Okay,
correct.
so
There
all
isn't.
the contractors work through the Charles County Transportation Department. The Transportation Department controls the contractors, and they give out the contract. They give out the routes. So they basically are the arm for the county or for the Board of Education in terms of who directly on a day-to-day basis deals with the contractors. But there is no audit. There is no accountability for what actually contractors, how they disperse money, with the revenue they make. There, to my knowledge, there's no audit of that at all. Now there are specific areas that they fund in the contract. They're supposed to pay so much for each bus, so much per each route. I mean, there are things broken down. But as far as the profit that each company's making, as far as the kind of things where one company might have one lot, yet it's 3 different companies, again, on the same lot, are they paid 3 times for that? Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't believe there's been an audit. But anyway, it's a situation where transportation is supposed to be responsible for the day-to-day correspondence and operation of the contractors.
That no audit is wild. There's a lot of money being passed, but it's not being passed down to where it needs to be. That sounds almost, I want to say almost, it sounds illegal.
I mean,
For you to have a decree of this money's supposed to go here, then you just don't follow what happens to it next.
Well, you have 48% of Maryland school buses basically using this same system. And so,
Again, the system was set up so the county can minimize the overall expense that it incurred to transport children to and from school.
no, go ahead.
But there was an audit done. The county had an audit done years ago.
Oh.
Okay. And when they had that audit done, which audited whether the county should bring the buses in-house or whether they should leave it under the contract service.
Okay.
And the audit showed that it would be cheaper for the contract for the school system to have the buses in-house. Right, one system, rather than having all these other systems out here.
Because
Okay.
you have the profit of the private business that where our tax dollars are paying for their own profits.
Yeah,
That's
but
correct.
The final result of that study was that the cost to make the transition was going to be an issue.
It's the initial upfront payment.
It was the upfront cost, which is why it was cheaper for the county to maintain the contractors than to go ahead and actually convert to a county total and controlled transportation system.
One thing I see that Daughtery Butler Washington is back, right? I saw that.
Yeah, she's
So can I take that?
go for sure. Absolutely.
So my one question is, Daughtery said in the comment responding to something that Derek Terry said, typically, she said public schools typically do not have a specific role called a contractor officer. Instead, the oversight of school contracts is usually managed by a combination of individuals and departments within the school district or education institution. My question to you, Daughtery, is why are there no audits of the contractors, and why does it seem like they're just able to it seems like you're saying it's just individuals, some departments who are supposed to be doing this, but I mean, you have actual bus drivers here who are saying that they're not auditing the contractors. And I believe I've even seen school board meetings where they've said, hey, we find out that people aren't getting paid what they're supposed to be when somebody tells us, and then we say something when something happens. How do you have a system that our tax dollars are going there every single year, but it's kind of like, hey, whatever happens, happens. I hope everything works out.
Well, when you take money from G.S. Proctor, then, I mean, that's what it is. It all comes back to, Pascal, I see you comment multiple times where you're talking about policy.
Which one? Wait, which one is Pascal at? Where? Can you highlight that
she
one?
said the same comment 3 times. I just want to touch on this real quick.
Please
this
do.
one right here.
Which one?
Whereas a system that lacks accountability at multiple levels to hold others accountable, the system accountable changes being made through policy. Here's the problem. If you're taking money through somebody,
Yeah.
you're not going to, and they all come back to who you are as a candidate. Campaign financing. Who's funding you? Who's giving you the money? Who's making your decisions? It comes back to that. If you have a spine, that's why I said on the last podcast, Carlos, not everyone should be running. Just because you file a name, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be there. If you're taking money from individuals like we mentioned tonight,
Yeah.
These contractors we mentioned on this paper, you have no business to be running for anything.
No.
You're not in it for the right reasons. You're not in it to get these people paid. You're in it for yourself, your profit, and you're not going to do anything. So it's a system, but the system is made through money.
And you're
It's
being
built through
paid
money.
not to do anything.
And you're paid not to do anything. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Rush hour. Just follow the money.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. After that, it is what it is. So that's the problem right there. Stop voting the same people in and do candidates clean, no financing as far as that, except for public, not public, but just people money.
Small
people
dollar.
power. That's it.
And it's like it's not even like it takes you a lot of money for a Charles County school board seat to run a race either. So it doesn't make sense. Go ahead, because then I also
Okay,
want to address
I
Pascal's
wanted to
other
ask.
comment
Yeah,
too. But go ahead.
well, yeah, I want to answer his question. Okay, so when I said Charles County study, let me elaborate so you understand. What it was that it was done by an outside source that was hired by the school board in order to do the study. And so that's what the study and the study was being asked because they were trying to figure out what was the better way to do it. Now, if you want a copy of it, we have a copy of it. So it's public record. So it's out there. And
Okay. So thank you for that. And even to Pascal's question or statement here about because that's not the job of the school system and audit needs to come from another source. I don't agree with that personally because I would say if Charles County government is giving, and this is kind of a separate issue, but if Charles County government is giving money to nonprofits, isn't it the Charles County government's job to do the audit of the nonprofit to make sure that the money that they're giving to them goes to the right place? I mean, I know people were advocating for an inspector general. That's Charles County government. That wouldn't be like a separate third party person that we paid. That would be the government should do the auditing if the government's the one giving out the money. Hey, I need to make sure that the money that we're giving you is going to the right place.
and that's basically what we're saying they should do in this case.
Dara, you said campaign finance is not the issue, but you've also admitted that you've gotten paid by the legislation of these contractors, which have made you move in ways you have.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't understand that. Like,
well,
you can't take money from somebody and say, all right, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you're paying me to do.
yeah.
It doesn't. The system doesn't work like that. That's why the system doesn't work.
And then even to her full, so reading out her full comment of, where is it? For Charles County Board. Okay, that's all the thing. Ooh, I missed. Okay, here it is. Campaign finance is not the issue. Contractors typically receive payment based on the terms of their contract. This may include a flat fee per bus or route. Payment based on the other number of miles driven or hours of operation, incentives and performance metrics such as a one-time and safety records. My question is still, Daughtery, is let's say we go with that mindset of it's not campaign finance, forget campaign finance, throw it out the window. The money that the school board, you as a school board member, are voting to allocate to the contractors, why is there not an audit done after every school year to make sure that the money went to the right place, especially when you have drivers here, drivers who have come to the school system, drivers who have talked at public hearings, town halls, all that, saying that I'm not getting paid what I'm supposed to be, I'm not getting the things that you all said I'm supposed to be getting from the school system. Why is then we don't say, let's audit you every single year to make sure that everyone is going to get what they're supposed to get?
The answer to that is simple, because you're getting paid you're being paid to be ignorant.
Yeah, and if you're not getting paid to do it, then come up with a different reason then. Because it's either you're getting paid to just be like, hey, I don't really care where the money goes, or you just don't care in general. Because how
We're
do
talking
you
about
have
this network already.
Yeah.
If you want to make it, you go against this right here, you're going to have some serious problems.
It's insane. Okay, then she goes to say Baltimore City and Montgomery County have contracting officers and inspector generals, but correct as okay, that's something about contracting officers. So Daughtery is saying the audit was done by the state. Have you all heard anything about when was that? Yeah, when was that, Daughtery?
And which audit is she talking about?
Yeah, because there have been more than one.
Right.
Oh, so which audit? Right. Daughtery, can you please elaborate? Ricky, Daughtery said, how about we let her speak?
Daughtery, if you want to sit down with these individuals, when's the last time you sat down with Daughtery? Just out of curiosity.
A year and a half ago. 2 years ago.
2 years
ago.
ago.
It was. Yeah, we were with Reuben Collins and Patterson at the meeting, and she was on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so face to face, We've never sat down to have this discussion with any of the school board members.
And that meeting was set up so that she could actually be at the meeting, so we could have a face-to-face.
Wow.
We all came, but she, again, called in.
So the last time you saw the majority of them was at the cookout when they needed your
Or either
your
at a school
support to
board
get
meeting.
Wait, the school board meeting you showed up to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Dog. What?
And they were campaigning, and we had the first campaign for the school board folks that were running, and they all came and spoke and told us what they were going. Town hall. We had
Yeah,
the
it was
first
campaign season.
Yeah, first town, and so got on. They got on the board and they forgot about us. Yeah, so.
Man, that happens a lot.
Is
doesn't
it?
Yeah.
And I would even say,
crazy.
is it forgot or is it they chose? They were like
They were paid to forget?
they chose to not want to do anything.
I have to. Washington, she has been one that's been vocal for us. She has, and along with Warren, and I think it was maybe one other, but we campaigned hard and put 7 people on that board, new faces, and we all backed them. They came to me and say, "Hey," I came to us and say, "We need ATU's backing," and we did. We even backed Carlo, and they got there and they actually forgot about us. Now she fought for us. I have to give her credit for that. So.
And that
And
was
she's
3-4 years ago?
2 years.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Right. So
this-
she.
Go ahead.
She's just 1 or 2 out of. There's 9 on the board, so it's hard. I guess it was hard for her.
Well, I will say this: when it comes to, and correct me if I'm wrong, people, and especially Pascal as well, when it comes to the school board voting on the budget, it has to be unanimous, right? Everyone has to vote.
Right.
So even one school board member could say, "I'm not voting until X, Y, and Z is discussed and added in." So
Yeah, but that won't
one
happen.
school board member.
That won't happen. When have they ever moved like that for that to happen?
But that's why, because in my mind, every school board member is a single person. You're right. Everyone was virtual under me. You got one member. You got to remember. Yes, daughter, you are one vote, and that one vote has power in certain instances. If it comes to the budget, you can say, you know what? Until you all have ATU at the table, I'm not voting for the school board budget.
Which hasn't happened.
No.
That's how you use your position power.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but she has to have someone with her, and I can say she pushed the 8 hours when the others didn't want to go with. Wow. Matter of fact, they wanted to go with 7 hours. We were guaranteed 6 hours, so we went from guaranteed 6 hours to a guaranteed 8 hours. And I can recall talking to her, and she said, I'm pushing, and I've got the 8 hours. I've got 4 votes on that, and possibly 5. We're gonna get you that. I can't say what we'll be able to get you after that, Mr. Beatty, but we'll be able to get you that. So that's a start.
But you said 8 hours wasn't a very hard thing to do.
Well, a lot of the runs paid between six and.
Majority of the runs were over 7 hours to begin with.
Right, yeah, but still, a guaranteed 8 versus a guaranteed 6 is a big difference. And I'll give you an example. When we got started 2 years ago, the average person was taking home about $2,100 to $2,300 a month on the average. So 2 years later, with the guaranteed 8, the average person is taking home about 37 to 40.
The
Okay.
average person? Not the average.
Yeah, but I'm saying the average.
People with over 20 years, 25.
Understand that the drivers at the school board had a guaranteed 8 hours.
Right.
So
Yeah,
we asked for the same thing they were getting.
right.
That's what that was.
And
So-
they got it first.
Yeah, they've always had a guaranteed 8 hours
Mm-hmm.
at the school board. Those drivers were getting that. So isn't it reasonable if you're paying them for 8 hours that you would pay us for 8 hours also? We're doing the same job. We're going to the same school. We're dropping off at the same stops. We're all doing the same. So if you do it for them, why? It's the same thing when it comes to the pay raises. If you're paying them and you're giving them a $1,000 raise every year, an increase every year, and you give it to them, why can't you give it to us? Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at them funny when they're riding down the road, because I can start off driving the bus and start off at the minimum 24 whatever, and they may start off a little less. But what happens is they'll pass me. So but they're doing the same job that I'm doing, exact same. So why? So it's the reasonableness.
Yeah, let me just finish my point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now the average person should be taking home anywhere from 35, 37 to 4,000 if you're at top pay, which in 2 years, this is what the union has been able to do.
Well, let
So-
me give you a starting point. When we first started, somebody who had just started and worked one day was getting only $1 less than somebody who had been driving for 25 years.
That's true.
Oh my
That's
God.
true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in other words, somebody who had been driving 25 years may have been getting $24, and somebody who just started was getting $23 an hour. And until we started this campaign, there was no change. And during the progression of this campaign, Charles County, I guess it's a Board of Education, heard part of what we're saying now.
Yeah, we have.
And they recognized that that was not only not fair, but that it was not something that was going to be able to, they were going to be able to continue. And again, I say they, meaning the contractors and the contracts that they were getting from the county. But even now, the 5 years between a pay raise, that still exists. So in most contracts, as Mr. Beatty has said, within 7 years, you're at top pay. Charles County bus driver, you got to work 25 years to get top pay and 5 years before you get your first raise.
Wow.
All right, so let me-
real quick. One thing
Go
I
ahead.
do want to correct myself.
Uh-huh.
So thank you, Daughtery and Pascal, for correcting that. Apparently, it is not a unanimous vote. It's a majority of the board members. I guess that also begs the question: have you ever voted no on the budget as a protest vote to say, hey, I am going to stand with the bus drivers here and say no, like, even though I may be outvoted, I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do?
So we're about 2 hours in. I think we've set the table pretty well as far as what you're looking for, what you don't have, the history behind everything with the contractors. I'm going to ask you one question. I'm going to leave from there. As far as Charles County bus drivers, understaffed?
Oh yeah. It's,
Yes.
yes.
That's why you see a sign in almost every contract.
Yeah, because-
that stays up, asking for more drivers, because they could start them out at $24 an hour.
and,
Okay.
and hold them at that for 5 years.
And how long does it take to get a CDL?
Depends. Well, it depends on the individual. I came with a CDL, but I didn't have a school bus endorsement. So I would say probably 60 days, 90 days. Yeah, probably.
You can get a CDL within a couple of months.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
The union ATU actually has training once a week to actually train people to get CDLs. However, a person who gets a CDL starting here in Charles County at $24 could use that same CDL and start for Metro at close to, what is it, almost $50 an hour?
Oh no, it's not quite that high. It's like 40. No, 30. I have it right here.
All right. well,
30.
I got that point right there.
34, 35, somewhere in there.
So
Okay.
we're understaffed. It takes about 3 months to get at least to drive a Charles County school bus.
Get the CDL.
The CDL.
Not the certification.
So how long does it take to get the certification?
That's a question.
You got the mic? Yeah.
They only have one trainer. So they only have one trainer working over there, and that's for the county. that has to take and the requirement for that trainer, I think they have to put in 10 to 15 hours behind the wheel. So in other words, that one trainer has to take them out on the road, and they have to have that number of hours. So that normally takes a while when you're trying to schedule multiple people.
Is there a lot of people applying for this job too? Bus driver.
I can't tell you the exact number. I do know that they are not filling the necessary numbers. That's why as I said, the sign is out at every contractor asking for drivers.
And they
It's
won't
currently
give
a shortage.
and they won't give the union a seat at the table.
No.
So why not just go on strike?
Well,
They can't. It's not
unfortunately,
like they can't do anything if you were to do it. Every Monday, if you were to go on strike, first day of the school year.
let me tell you about the apathy that a lot of the drivers have. Here in Charles County, a lot of the drivers feel beholden to the contractor. I mean, basically, you talk to some drivers about the fact that, you could take your same CDL and go to Prince George's County and make another $12 an hour or more doing the same job. Well, my contractor gives me a fish dinner every Friday night, or would they supply lunch for me every other week? Those are the kind of comments that you get from a lot of the drivers down here. So it's an education process to let them know their worth as well, because they've gotten used to being basically underpaid for so long.
So half of you
They
can't go on strike.
Going without
You got microphone. Yeah.
You're talking about going without a paycheck. So naturally, when you start talking about going without a paycheck, the question is going to be, how long how long can I endure?
Well, isn't it just a sick out?
Well,
Sick outs are illegal because the company can, they can determine that it's no longer a sick out, it's a strike, and then you can
But
go
they don't
from
have
there.
the people to replace you. So
Well,
what can they do?
Yeah, right.
What
And so,
happened initially when we first started? There was a large meeting at a location here in Charles County, and you had well over 100 bus drivers and attendants who came to the meeting, and it became real clear there were enough at that time that the next week a third of them didn't drive.
And it caused a lot of hell. A lot of parents raised a lot of nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but they raised a lot of hell on social media. They did a lot of promo work for you.
Right.
Why
Well,
not do it
right
again?
after
And
that?
see-
Right after that is when they changed the pay scale so that people who had been working 25 years got that increase. So the county recognized the strength of what you just said. If the bus drivers don't come to work, there was action immediately.
So why not do
What's
it
that
again?
song? If you did it
Right.
before, you can do it again.
Yeah,
Well,
they've already caved
here's
once.
the-
What's stopping?
here's
We hear you.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
But I go back to sometime we can, by helping people, now they're, when they were at $2,100 to $2,300 a month, most people couldn't pay their rent. If they paid the rent, they didn't have anything left. So now we brought them along, and so a lot of them now can pay their rent. And maybe have a few dollars left over. So there are a lot of them, as he said, they are loyal to their contractors.
But not all of them are loyal.
Right. Yeah. And so when this system was set up, it was set up so unions would never be able to come in. We beat the odds. And we were able to get the unions in on 10 of the properties. And if it hadn't been for the virus, I think we would have ran the whole thing, because we were set back by 6 or 7 months because we didn't have people at National Labor Relations Board to actually help us. They were down to 1 or 2 people coming into the office. So
Let me just add.
So
Even though there's been an increase in the compensation, that has caused a lot of people to feel like, well, at least I can pay my rent now. They don't recognize that they should also get health care. They don't recognize that they should also be able to pay for holidays as the county pays all the other employees.
Right.
They don't recognize that they should have a retirement. We've had people who've retired with less than $1,000 a year going into their retirement. So people
They
who
ain't gonna do
retired
nothing. Yeah, that's nothing.
with
That's nothing.
12,
Yeah,
15,
right.
20 years, getting a one-time payment, a one-time check of less than the years of $1,000 per year, or sometimes less than $1,000 per year
Based
as
on
their
number of years.
as their full retirement
Yeah.
in a one-time payment. So basically, you don't have that. And since they have not had that, a lot of the people who have been driving for Charles County are happy with what we've been able to do so far in terms of, well, at least now they can pay their rent, or at least now in Charles County where I can get a 1 or 2 bedroom unit. They don't recognize that, hey,
The whole
they-
big picture.
Exactly.
And even I want to highlight, as y'all talking about how people are working and working and working and not able to retire, not able to enjoy life and all. I know you all have a driver who, actually probably multiple drivers, who are well in their past retirement senior age. I know, isn't it a driver who is around the age of?
She's over 85. She's over 85, isn't it?
She's 86 years old. She's been driving since 1972, 53 years, and she's coming
For Charles
back this
County
year.
School.
And
Still driving and has to drive this year.
And how old is she?
I wasn't even born.
She's
86. She just turned 86 years old.
and we have a number of drivers in their 80s driving buses
Let me ask you
because they cannot retire.
I was about to ask you that very clarifying question. Is it because they want to do it, or is it because they have no other option?
Because they have no other option.
Oh, say it into the mic for the people all the way in the back.
It's because they have no other option. If you realize prices have gone up and are going to continue to go up, and the cost of living is going up higher and higher. What you could buy 5 years ago costs you a whole lot more today. And so what happens is they have to continue working. They see their friends living paycheck to paycheck, can't miss a beat. And also, one other thing you need to realize about being a school bus driver, I want to point this out to you. Normally when you're working on a job, you know what you're going to get every 2 weeks. You at least know what you're going to get every month, because your bills have to be paid that way. But when you work as a school, we work 180 days a year. That's what our work time is. So you're not guaranteed to get a certain amount of money every month. You heard us round it off and say, okay, you're getting $4,000 a month. Well, you may not get $4,000 some months. That's right.
I mean, we are not compensated for snow days.
Right.
For holidays, for teachers' days off.
Yeah, we get no compensation.
And you'll show up and not notice a cancellation.
Well,
No, we just don't.
They have a
No.
calendar.
Yeah.
you go to bed.
No, I'm talking like a
you
snow
go to
day.
bed
Yeah.
and you wake up in the morning and see whether the superintendent or whoever has gone out to check the roads to see whether you're going. So you had to be up and you had to be ready. So in case you had to go, so you may as well have gone. You know what I'm saying? So we are also. I'll give you another example. You can be out. And so you've driven your morning run, and you come back home, and you turn the bus back in, and they can decide we're closing schools early. So how do you work a part-time job if they close schools early and you got to go back to work now? You're on call all the time. You're on call all the time.
But the reality is, you're not getting paid for that. So in other words, when you're not driving the bus, even though it was a day that you were scheduled to drive the bus, that you would have gotten paid if it was a snow day or they closed the schools for whatever, you don't get paid. So your monthly bills still have to be paid, but you didn't get paid. So there have been a number of school days where there was snow and they closed the schools. We were supposed to get paid those days. There was no pay. Yet you still had to make your payments that month.
And also when they have these teacher conference, and they have a lot of them or whatever the conference, we don't get paid for those days. And as the gentleman said, snow days we don't get paid for snow days. Holidays is like 12 now. We don't get any of them.
How many sick days do you have a year throughout the school year?
It's
are they
based
paid?
on.
Are
It's
they
based
paid or
on.
not?
Yeah, it's based on your length of service. Like this gentleman, he gets 10 days a year.
And how many years of service?
19.
Wait.
It cuts off at 10.
Hold up.
It cuts off at 10?
Hold up.
Cuts off at
19
10.
years.
19 years. He gets 10 days a year to
After
do.
10 years.
After
of
10
working,
years.
I got 10 days. I got 10 days leave.
Right, he gets 10
That's
days.
the same amount for the last 10 years.
Okay.
How do you think these contractors make so much money? It's basically because they have free labor most of the time.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Free labor.
how
I
the
say that meaning they're
hell?
paying very,
Nah, I
very
know
low
that.
rates.
Yeah. All right.
So in my case, I have 8 years, so I get 7 days. You have what?
years.
5 years. So you get 6. He gets 6 days. Everything after 6 years, I believe, you pick up a day up to 10, which it maxes out at 10. And actually, till we came along, some of the contractors, if you went out sick, they pay you out at the end of the year. So if I'm serious. Say this gentleman here has 10 days, he never misses. Until we stopped them from doing it, that's what they would do. And you had other contractors who would tell you that you had to work so many days before you could pick up 1 day. In other words, you had to work 30 days to get 1 day. So if a person like this gentleman has 10 better than 10 years, he'd have to work all the way to May before he picked his 10 days up. And so they were all over the map. So we've been able to reel them in on a lot of things by going to the
just making it known. Just
Yes,
making it
making
known
it
what
known,
some of these
right.
contractors are doing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I don't think the majority of people even knew that everything y'all just said about sick days even works like that. I think.
Oh, it's just
I'm trying
so
not
much.
to cuss a lot because right now it's
And
just
we
disgusting.
have used every tool.
Strike.
And that is the last one.
We're trying to avoid
we're
that.
trying to
need a
avoid that.
button that says strike.
But you have a point.
Right.
But we have used every tool in the tool book that we could possibly use. Also, there's a lot of language, state language that sick leave. We've been able to use that to bring these because before. Well, when I say we,
Right,
yeah,
that's what we mean.
That's what we mean. So yeah, so we have been able to pull stuff off of the state websites and use it to our advantage. OSHA, some of those areas that we have filed complaints, and we'll continue to look out for these members. Down here, this is what we do. Yeah.
So they passed a law that said that you had to be guaranteed sick leave. In other words, in my mind, I should have leave, and then I should have sick leave.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because you earn them two different ways. The leave is earned by the number of years of your service, and the sick leave is earned by the number of hours that you work. So that's two different ways. Well, what the contractors did, they took the requirement to have sick leave and they rolled it into your regular leave. Yeah. And so they say to you, well, if you get sick, you can use your leave and take off. But if I use my leave, I don't have my leave that I've earned for all the years of me working.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the mentality that they try to tell people. And if you don't know any better, that's what you'll listen to and that's what you'll understand, because that's the way they go about doing things. That's the problem. The mentality of is people taking advantage of it. And they try to convince the workers that they are doing what's best for them. But when you sit down and you look at it, they're not. They really aren't.
And this is capitalist. Like this is why I get my little moment that I talk about every so often about how trash capitalism is. This is like legit the definition of capitalism. But go ahead, Ricky.
I know you want to touch on Daughtry's comment, real, but y'all familiar with the Philadelphia workers and as far as the trash strike?
Shout out to them.
And they got one time for the city of Philadelphia. Just the people itself, the workers. They went on strike and they were able to. I think they got, if I'm reading here, 14% pay increase.
Well, ATU has.
If no one's listening, there's something you can do that seems to be very effective, and they need you.
ATU over the last year has had to take, I think, over a dozen different companies to the point where their employees struck. And so ATU is not afraid of having that occur here. It's just that we're trying to do everything that we can to expose the issues and the conditions that these workers are not only having to experience through the contractors, but we also have to bring the workers to the point where they recognize how they are being abused. And that's the process that we're going through now. Even though we have a large number of workers who are union workers, there are a lot of people who still look, well, I'm going to get that chicken dinner on Friday free. You know what I mean? And so that, unfortunately, is the mentality of a lot of the workers who are still working down here at Charles County.
Carlos, you want to take Dottery and comment?
And let me
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Mr. Beatty.
Let me just comment on something that we made earlier. I remember 2 years ago when we started, this young lady came to me and she said, I support you guys. She said, but if we get a raise, I'm going to lose my medical card. I'm going to lose my house. And so we're fighting that mentality because we're so low, they were able to be on public assistance. So they were, happy with the medical cards and the houses. And I told her, surviving, right? And I looked at her and I told her, because kind of caught me off guard. So I looked at her and I told her, I said, look, sweetheart, my job is not to keep you in poverty. My job is to try to get you out of poverty. So we've had people now that's got to 8 hours and moved up, and they're complaining about the fact that they've lost these things.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's correct.
So we're fighting that group because the county kept them at that level, and you've got 5 years before you get to your next pay. You're gonna stay at that level. And so those are the things that we are trying to trying to change. I know we've been here 2 years, 2 years, better than 2 hours. But let me just say this.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Absolutely.
And we're good with time. Yeah, you keep going.
I'd like to take a second and express my condolence to Now Banks' family. Now Banks was assigned to help us down here, ATU, Local 689. She was a organizer. I knew now for over 30 years. Hard worker, 42 years old, collapsed while in contract negotiation and died. And fighting for us. So, and 42 years old. So we want to take our hats off and may you rest in peace. And I'd like to also say this. I know I'm not as active as I've been over the years, but I have some folks around me that's helping me. A year ago, I lost my wife after 42 years, so I'm still grieving. And but we're going to still move forward and try to get the best resolution for these drivers and get you guys decent retirement, decent pay, and so you can walk around, stick your chest out, and be proud. Just work with us.
I love that.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
peace.
peace.
Absolutely.
That, wow. I mean, yeah. Let me. Ricky, you want me to address the chat comment?
Go ahead.
Oh God. So, Dottery posted a comment. Well, actually, there's a lot of different stuff that was said. Dottery said the state of Maryland did the audit. I still would like to know. So, what came out of that audit? Is the school board doing anything with that audit? Are we looking at the audit to say, is everything good? Are we
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Are we looking at the audit to say, all right, cool, what are the disparities? Is the money not going where it should go? Pascal Small says, I feel for your fight and hope to see you all work collaboratively with the others to push for more equitable policy. And then Dottery's last comment was ATU versus Contractor Association, same workers, but on two teams with different goals for each group. And I want to get you all's reaction to that before I say my own personal reactions. Yeah, she said, if you could clarify that, Dari, that'd be great. She says ATU versus Contractors Association. Same workers, but on two teams with different goals for each group.
And she's saying that the Contractors Association has different goals than their workers. Is that what she's
I
asking?
mean, that's what it said.
If you are a business person and you're in business, you want to maximize your profit.
Yeah.
And if you're used to maximizing your profit by not paying your workers, well, then clearly it's a situation where you have different opinions between the two groups. And so ATU's responsibility is to make sure that its members have a livable income. Whereas contractors' primary responsibility, and as seen here in Charles County, is continuing generational wealth. So yes, there's a definite difference.
Off of our tax dollars paying for their generational wealth of their
And
families.
let me just address that last part. The Contract Association, when we first met with them, the first thing they said, well, we don't negotiate. Y'all have to go to the to the county. So, but here's the kicker: the school board sits down with the contractor, which is not a representative. They don't have legal ties, and negotiates the contract. We are union. We have more rights than the contract association to sit down and negotiate, and the members have voted. The members didn't vote for this contract association. This is something that the county and the Contractors Association put together. Yes, there's always going to be different goals when this type of money is passed out to a contractor that runs 15 routes to get $1.5 million a year. They set the amount of routes and everything. But one thing we're not saying is they also rent spaces to keep the buses. They also pay mortgages in some of these cases. That came out in the task force. Yes. So
Wait, Q elaborate on that. Yeah, who rents the spaces from who?
the county rents spaces.
Hold on one second. Switch that mic out.
For the
Hold on, real quick.
One second. Say that one more time, but we're gonna switch mics
Mr.
for
BD and Ms. Wesley, Q switch
yeah,
mics.
please.
And then Mr. BDQ, say what you just said again about who's
Okay,
renting spaces from who.
and what came out in the task force, and it's public record. In some cases, they're paying renting space at these people's houses. They're paying them to do the books, and so it's additional revenue coming in there. Because I know you mentioned the fixed routes and the way it's set up and everything, but also it's set up where cases they're paying the mortgage.
So
And that came out.
So Mr. Beatty is saying that a number of these contractors are paid in addition to what they're supposed to pay their employees, the payroll. They're paid money to actually administer the payroll. They're paid money basically to store their buses at a lot. The county is paying for the cost for that lot, and a lot of these lots have the contractor's house on the lot. So in other words, the county is paying for more than just these contracts, actually pay for more than just the route to get the child to and from school or the children to and from school. They're paying for a lot of the additional costs that the contractors have in order to operate.
So, what? Are tax dollars just subsidizing the lives of contractors?
That's what it sounds like.
To have their own wealth system, at the taxpayer's expense. Daughtery clarified, said bus owners versus unions. Unions, employees, bus owners, contract association. I guess what's the point of what she said? Ricky, do you understand the point of what she said?
I don't know.
To
listen.
me, yes. I mean, Daughtery, I guess you're right. The bus contractors are only advocating for their own personal profit, and the ATU union is advocating for the employees who are actually the ones who are administering the actual service. They're the ones who are actually getting kids safely to and from school. They're the ones who have to actually drive in inclement weather. They're the ones who, and also I had a question from when you all were talking about you don't get like paid. You all find out the same time that parents and students find out if school's closed or not. Normally now, Carlos wasn't in school but some years ago, but what happened was we would get up in the day, look at the news, and find out about maybe 30 minutes before school starts, say, oh, okay, school's closed. You all...
Same thing.
But you all have to go and heat up the buses because it's freezing outside. So that means... How many times was it that you all had to drive to the lot, and when you get to the lot or you're on your way to the lot, you find out, oh, wait, school's closed. I got to turn
That's
right
free
back around and
labor.
go home.
That's free labor.
Yeah.
Well, they try to get it in now somewhere around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and most of these jurisdictions they all call it in the same time, or a 2-hour delay, something similar to that. So that to me, that's not a real big issue. The pay is more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
so
that
pissed
particular
off.
day, if I've counted that month, and the teachers take off a couple times, if you have a snow day or a holiday, you can lose 3-4 days out of that month. So that will definitely make a difference in your income for that month. We're all fortunate because. Yeah.
Oh, well, she just clarified here. She said they must come together and agree on the best strategy for both and ensuring students are safe. To me, that is that you can't have that. That's like me going to my supervisor at my job and saying, hey, I need you to advocate for what's best for me. You're at the end of the day, as a supervisor, and that's not even the same too, because the contractor job is to make as much profit as they can. So at the end of the day, they really couldn't care less about the workers. Their main part is themselves.
But why is she saying they like she's not sitting on the board currently?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, oh my God, dude.
Well,
The person that controls it, controls that situation, is the school board.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're
What is
the ones
they?
that determine
She's
how
right.
much each one of them are going to get paid. They determine that. So it's not where I can go to the contractor and just say, okay, give me more money. That's what we're doing. We're going to the contractor saying, we want better benefits. We want health care. We want retirement, long and short-term disability. Yeah, we're saying that. And they, in turn, are saying to us, well, we can't give it to you. You got to get it from the school board.
And the school board is saying that go get it from the contractor.
Right, and that's the circle we're caught up in.
Oh, my
That's the catch-22.
and the school board won't talk to us.
Right. So and the school board won't talk to us. So when you push somebody's back against the wall, what do you think happens?
Strike.
I mean,
That's what you do.
That's the only thing that it sounds like that there is to do. And Daughtry just, I get what
You're not getting any help here. Strike.
You know,
First day of school.
it's
Do it.
against
Do it.
It's against the contractor's best interest. If their primary goal as a private enterprise is to make a profit, that's why they're in business. It's not to change the system that already exists so they make less of a profit.
They're making millions.
So basically, it's a situation where, if I understand her question correctly, she's saying, well, why don't you go to the people who have a system in place that's giving them generational wealth and ask them to give some to you? That's not going to happen. This is a capitalistic society. You put people in a situation where they are in business to make a profit and you expect them to change their system so they can give their workers more. It doesn't happen that way, particularly when they're using taxpayer dollars that are going to these contractors. These contractors aren't going to give up money that they already know they have.
And let me say this. Okay. So let's say we go to the contractors and we're asking the contractors for it. And the contractors say no, they aren't going to give it. Okay. And then what happens is we decide to go on strike against the contractors. Who does that affect? Doesn't that affect the school board and the system they have running?
That's why when you do it, you put the pressure on them, and the parents, they would meet IG, TikTok, Facebook, they start raising hell. And then once parents start raising hell, they do exactly what
So you can't pretend that you don't have anything to do with it. Okay, that's what you're trying to do when you tell us to go talk to the contractors and get it from the. You're trying to pretend like you have no stake in the game. You know, you're passing the buck, but you have
Welcome to
all the
Charles
stake
County.
in the game because this is your school bus system. These are your workers. There's no other way. If you know, you can pretend like they belong to the contractor, but they belong to you also.
If y'all don't show up, the school doesn't operate.
Well, what she just asked is actually happening right now. We are trying to negotiate with contractors. The response from the contractors is very clear. We don't control the funds. The county does. We have to take what they accept. They're the ones who define what we're able to receive and what we're able to give our workers. So to ask us again to do the same thing that we have told you over and over again will bring no results. I don't understand the reasoning.
Thank you.
And Pascal's right.
Can you tell Daughtery that, please, Pascal?
It's never anybody's fault here. It's never my job. It's always somebody else. I mean, Daughtery, they're telling you exactly what's going on here.
But then even her comment there, that is not right.
That is
the
not
school
right.
board negotiates with bus owners, not workers. This is FAR, which governs both state and federal. But even to your point right there to say the school board negotiates with the bus owners, not workers, exactly, that's the problem. That is the problem that they're saying. Bring them to the table so that they get to negotiate. Pascal, I get your point, a strike with her children, but what's hurting children in the long run is the treatment that the bus drivers and attendants are facing. Because would we rather people be like, hey, we're going to keep you in these a step above slave wages and say, hey, you all keep driving, do what you're doing, and you have people who barely get sick leave, who don't get holiday pay, all this, they're stressed out. I don't think any parent would want, or person would just want stressed out people driving kids around with 60 kids to a bus. They have to be taken care of. No one's leaving out the delegates and senators either. Pascal, we talked about them earlier about their bill for joint employment, which G.S. Proctor and Associates, shout out to them and their lobbyist money, lobbied the delegates and senators to change the bill. Like it is a system that's set up against them, and it is the capitalist system that is keeping the contractors in this position of power.
It's that simple. How many ways can we say it?
I don't know.
Once again, it's the campaign financing. Who's getting money from who? And then if you're getting paid, you're not going to do anything about it. You'll just walk in circles like we're saying tonight, and nothing's going to happen. The last time you saw most of these people was at a cookout. What was that, at Gilbert's Run?
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Of course.
And then that was that. And then G.S. Proctor money, that was that. It'll be the same thing for 2026. But hopefully with nights like this, we put it all on wax. And then from there, we see exactly what's going to happen next.
I hope parents get ready, hopefully, to have to take their kids into school the first day.
And then also, once you get parents out here complaining, they'll do exactly what they do. They'll listen, or they'll be like, all right, I don't want to hear. Then they'll just be that from there.
No,
You have the power. They can't do anything. What are they gonna do? I mean, they do fire half of you. Best of
what
luck.
you gonna see? School board members get out there and drive a bus?
You know, and the thing I just don't understand is why they don't sit down and talk to us.
Money.
But I mean, nothing. I mean, you can sit down and
But
have
even
a
past
conversation.
money, you can have a conversation and at least like they
What,
don't
show
even
the
want
optics?
No, they don't even want to do the optics part of it to say, hey, let's at least sit you down, and you know how people hush you up because sitting you down, okay, I'll make things look good. They're honestly, this is the most disrespect that I've ever seen in government.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I don't think you just made that just be good at politics.
We may be re-exposing this, but
Huh.
the school board has heard all this. They're aware of it. It's not like they're not familiar with the issues that we've discussed tonight.
We've been going on for 2 years.
Yeah. So
that's true.
again, they've heard it. We've presented time after time at school board meetings. We've talked to individuals. It's not a situation where there hasn't been communication and they aren't aware of everything that we discussed today.
Yeah, the only reason why I say sit down and talk to us is because if you don't, you push us further and further to what Rick's been yelling out.
Come on now. Come on now.
We're getting a button.
Power back
know,
to the people, please.
That's
There
what
we go.
happens. And so if you're trying to avoid that happening, now if you don't care what you'll do is you'll keep doing what you're doing. Okay, and then and what happens is you're going to get a different result here.
Yeah.
Okay, but that might not be something that you want. So I would say to you, it's better for you to be sitting down talking to people before they do something than to have to sit down and try to talk to them after it's already happened. Because when it's already happened, it might be too late.
So Daughtery's saying on here, and I'll read some of the other comments too.
After that, we'll go around the room. We'll start to close shop.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Rick. So Pascal says inequitable systems and capitalism hurts everyone who isn't a millionaire. You're exactly right. They're making million profits as contractors. So also she says, so let's not forget other people in power that need to be put on the same. This need to put the onus of this on. That's what I'm saying too. Okay, agree with that. Daughtery says you cannot negotiate with bus owners' employees. It is law. I did not attend the outing. Can you all speak to that? And then she also said, I talked to them, asked Mr. Beatty, but can you first talk about is it a law that says that they cannot bring you all to the table?
No, there's no law that says they can't.
Yeah.
It's that says that you can't sit down and talk to me about and negotiate a contract. For there's no law that says that.
I would say, where's the law?
Yeah, can you please provide that law too?
There's no law against sitting down with ATU and negotiating a contract. What has happened over the years with these private contractors, the board has taken a position that the employees of the contractors does not work for the school system. You are private, and they've sold that to these employees until we came along and say, wait a minute, if you're doing all this, then you're a joint employer. So that was what opened up this whole thing. There's no law that you can't sit down. The board can't sit down with ATU. There's no law. There's no law.
But
and I've been in this business for 50 years.
But there's been an effort by the Board of Education to basically conceal the fact that they control every aspect of the contractor's employees. Initially, their contracts with the contractors specified employees. They had pay scales. They had the days that you were off. All those things were in the contract that the contractors received from the county. Once we told the county the Board of Education that these things determined or basically showed that it was a joint employer situation, they changed the contract. The contract now does not have any of those details. They just give an amount that the contractors will receive. They do not specify pay scales, yet it's still clear that the county controls exactly how much minimum now the contractors are to compensate their employees, and they try and use that as, well, we just have a minimum amount. They can pay you whatever they want to. Again, the county is aware, and they've used several techniques to try and camouflage the fact that they still control all of the contractors' employees.
Well, and I see she's quoting some statute.
She said the federal acquisition regulation, and it says federal acquisition regulation. Please read it. It covers federal and state. Now, I looked it up, and I'll just say real quick. I'm not saying AI is perfect and everything. I looked it up. From what AI is saying, Charles County School Board isn't a federal place, so it doesn't really regulate that. But also, to me too, this is not a normal contract government situation, because I have never heard of a government contract that the government side has so much actually has overwhelming force to say you will pay your employees this at minimum, you will offer them this at minimum, we will pay in this at minimum. If anything happens, you all come to us. Normally in a contract situation, if an employee has an issue about pay, it's because it's between them and that contractor. That's not how this is. You all handle issues if things come up.
They do the evaluations as to whether or not you could continue to drive. The employer doesn't do that. All of those things come directly through the Board of Education, controlling transportation. So it's not a situation where basically the only thing necessary for the contractor to do is to hire bus drivers. After that point, once they're hired, then whether or not they're certified, how they're trained, how they're disciplined, how they're fired, all comes directly from the Board of Education through the Transportation Department.
Dollar, did you tell them this information in 2022 when you were running for their vote and their support? Just out of curiosity.
In these conversations that she has had with you all, has she ever told that to you all? Hey, you all have no right to be at that.
No.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well, we're about 2 hours and 30 minutes, so we'll go around the room. I'll let everybody do their speak, say what you need to. Upcoming events, any way that we could support your movement. First day of school's coming up.
Anything to look forward to first day of school?
Well, I would say this for I call them workers now, the drivers and attendants that drive Charles County Public School buses, and I'd say on both sides, on the union side, on the those that work for directly for transportation, and those that work under contractors. We all seek to do the same thing, and which is to take care of our kids, which is to get our kids to school safely and return them home. And we do everything we can when we're doing that job, and also to watch out for the operating public that's out there. That's the basis and core of what we know our job is, and we do our job every day, and we do it effectively. And we do it to the utmost of our ability. So in doing that, and that being the dedication of our service in terms of what we're doing, what I'm trying to do is to promote their best interests, because they're entitled to it. They give you good service, so they're just trying to get entitled pay. So anything that anyone out there that's listening to the podcast can do to help us in that effort, we would certainly appreciate it. Any information you have, anything that you can pass our way, we're always happy to sit down and talk to anyone to find out more information. And that's about it.
Awesome.
Well, I just want to say briefly that ATU will continue to fight for fair compensation and benefits for workers here in Charles County, and we appreciate the opportunity to once again share the issues that bus workers here in Charles County encounter. And just want to thank you for that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Beatty.
Okay, thank you. First of all, Rick, I think it's been about 15 months since we had one of these. I think we're going to try to have them a little more often.
I'll be with you more than the school board.
Okay.
This 15 months worked out perfect.
Yeah,
Hey,
and so we were able to come to you, get our point across, and we're still fighting. It is uphill. I have 50 years in this business. I'm 73 years old. I have 50 years doing this. And Charles County has been the most challenging of all the organizing and everything that I've been involved in, because of rather than sitting down with one person, sitting down with a group, negotiating a contract, it's passing the buck, and it's sad. And I want to say this. There's been some areas that we've been able to work with Navarro. There's been some areas. It hasn't been perfect. And so she and I have, developed a relationship based on some of the things that we can do, and we realize that we're going to reach a point where we're going to have to use that last tool in the toolbox. And sometimes you don't let your right hand know what your left hand's getting ready to do.
Hey,
So
There we go.
I'm saying that, and I hope to continue working with them on the areas that we can work together on. The superintendent, well, not so much superintendent, the director of transportation, we have a decent working relationship with him. And so I just hope that that continues and that we can bridge the gap and bring this thing together. And we really appreciate you guys giving us this platform.
absolutely. One time round of applause for you all. If I can't say too before I pass the mic off to Carlos, Mr. Wills, bus driver. I think that's his name. Maybe from a couple years back. I'm not sure. Mr. Wills. Does that sound familiar?
Was that your bus driver?
No. It's when my kids first started school around here. He was, I think that's his name. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm gonna make sure. I hope I got it right. But he was one of my kids' bus drivers, and for my oldest, he was. He used to talk about him every day he came home, and my boy and my girl, they ride a bus elementary school, and they always talk about, one of the things they talk about is just the bus itself. So you're a huge part of what they are, the from the boy and the girl to, the man and woman they end up becoming. So I thank you all, even from, me, public school, riding a bus, it's a lot of stories. And obviously kids, they on a bus, crazy, wild, to school, from school, it's hell. But, thank you all for honestly what you do. And I really appreciate it. And I know my kids do, and a lot of kids out here do, kids I coach, kids I've seen out here, just, community, they really appreciate it. So I know there's a lot of nonsense, but thank you, honestly, for everything. Well, appreciate it. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Los, you want to end us off?
Yeah, I would even say same here as a former Charles County Public School student. I definitely want to thank you all. I still remember my first bus driver out here in Charles County, Miss Jessica. I actually saw her a few years ago. Amazing bus driver. First one, she knew me, my mom, my grandmother. She pull up in front of my grandmother's house and just talk and chit chat.
Hey.
So you all hold the school system together. There
DNA
would
of the
not be
community.
school system without you all. There would be not. The teachers wouldn't be able to teach. The building services wouldn't be able to do what they do if you all did not bring kids to and from school. And I'll say this, that nowhere is set up for parents to be able to bring their children to and from school without you all. So, and once the county, once the elected officials, once the contractors, once everybody gets it through their head that you all are the most essential part of a school system, then I pray that you all get the change that you need. I'll say this in my closing statement too. This is always an amazing opportunity to, be able to talk with you all. Ricky, I hope that we have Daughtery on one day and just talk with her about GS Proctor and Associates and other things, and just other things that she's doing. I am just thank you all for everything that you all have done and still fighting to this day. It's amazing.
I will give Daddy credit. Obviously, she in the comment section.
Yeah, I will give her credit for
sure.
being there talking and everything.
You showing up, you talking. It's a lot of disagreement from this side, that side. Yeah. But I think the important thing to do when you're in that seat, you will. Hey, come on now.
Come on the podcast. We got a seat for you in the microphone.
Daughtery is one person that I can count on as far as at least communication when it comes to if someone calls her name, she's gonna answer. Yeah. So, but with that being said, Daughtery, you also need to call out those people around you that are with you, and even your own district that aren't doing exactly what they need to. That's what I see as real power. It's easy if you can go back and forth with, voters and citizens, but can you go back and forth with your own, essentially, coworkers? Yeah. Can you call them out when they're wrong? And there's a couple of times you are. Also, I want to know about that the campaign finance with GS Proctor. Yeah, me too. And shout out to you for coming on the podcast comment section here. Shout out for you talking about you're going to come on the show with us. We need more vocal elected officials. We need more
more people. I don't see y'all news bill. You're right, and there was even a question earlier to you all about what is it, Dr. Latanya Smalls done? I feel like I barely even. Okay, let me leave that for something else. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice. So, yeah, it needs to be a change on every level, and election season is coming up.
Next podcast, the Plato.
I would love it to be. I don't know if y'all have been watching what's going on in La Plata. Whoo, it's some issues with the mayor, some money going around, some shucking and driving.
Once again, the money.
Yeah.
Man, it's the money. It's
About
always
$10,000 a month money.
Yeah. That generational wealth, right?
Right. That contractor money.
I appreciate all three of you. We'll chop it up after this podcast too.
Thank you all so much.
Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you, Charles County. Thank you, everybody in the comment section. Thank you, Carlos,
Thank
BNY
y'all.
Network. Rick, what's good, DMV?
Thank you.